Good evening and welcome to the second meeting of fiscal year 2025 for the Milton Planning Board. At this time, I would like to now call the meeting to order and begin with introductions of our board and staff.
Cheryl Tagayas, Secretary.
Maggie Oldfield, member.
Jim Davis, member.
And myself, Meredith Hall, serving as chair. Unfortunately, Sean could not be with us this evening, but with us we do have our staff. Julia
Gavin, clerk.
Great. And unfortunately, Cheyenne could not be with us. It would have been her last meeting with us as she is making a big move to Texas and going on to study for the bar exam. So we wish Cheyenne all the best and we thank her for her service. First, we have our administrative items. We don't have any minutes to approve this evening, so we can discuss our next meeting dates. At our last meeting, we had discussed moving up our first August meeting to August 7th so that we could make our deadline if we want to make any changes or updates to our zoning articles before sending it to the warrant committee. So if that is still agreeable, that August 7th.
So we won't have the 14th then, right?
So we would not have the 14th.
Okay.
And the question is, any articles that we would have needed to submit would need to be in by that week. So I'm wondering if people want to take off, since we have had so many meetings this past year, if we would want to take off August 28th and then resume for September 11th would be the next meeting date. And I didn't know how the members felt about that.
I actually wouldn't mind doing that. I mean, I feel we've been working very hard over the last, well, since I've been on the board 2 years. And I think, taking a little block of time for ourselves is warranted.
Okay, so one thing, Meredith,
Yeah.
we talked about having the MPIC come in for, or me.
Yeah,
or maybe other members
some
come
point,
in.
yeah.
So if we can think about that for September, like maybe the 11th or the 25th. So just
Yep, to
put that on the
pencil that
radar
in.
screen.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's great.
We're working on the report still, so I don't.
And we
don't wanna commit to a
can be
date
in
just
touch,
yet, yeah.
exactly, if you felt like the 11th, so we can sort of put a pin in it and then do that for either of those dates. Would be great.
And I will be, actually, so it would need to be the 11th, actually, because I'll be away on the 25th.
Okay.
And, yeah, I'll be gone for 2 weeks, but that would be the one meeting, that would be the normal
Would that
meeting.
be preferable, or we could look at a different date around the 25th if you wanted?
Yeah, so I'm going to be away the 18th of September through the 2nd of October.
Oh, okay.
In Scandinavia, so a different time zone.
Oh, good. That's where my
Very
son's
cool.
coming back from. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so,
let's shoot for this 11th,
Yeah.
if we think we can make that
If we
work.
can make it. And then otherwise, maybe we can try to do it for the October, because the
first
town meeting's
October.
not until the 27th.
Right, yep, okay. That sounds great. Julia, any updates from staff that Cheyenne wanted to pass on?
She didn't pass anything along to me, so I have nothing.
Okay, great. All right, terrific. So at this time, we have the opportunity for citizens speak. If there's anything that's not on the agenda, anyone from the public or online will certainly have an opportunity to speak during our public hearings. So if there's anything else that people would like to speak on, please, you can either raise your hand online or if you're here in the public. I'm not seeing anyone here. Maybe Julia, you seeing anybody? No. Okay. All right, great. So at this time, we can now open our first scenic road hearing for tree removal at 179 Highland Street. And Branch, if you want to come and join us at the table here. And anyone else who would like to speak on the Highland Street scenic road? Yeah, feel free to come. And you can sit right here.
Okay. Hello. Nice to meet you.
Cassie?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, and if you can both just introduce yourself for the public and state your address for the record.
Yeah, Tasha Wells, 179 Highland Street.
Great, welcome.
I don't know if Tasia would probably like to say something, but she has put in an application to remove a tree in front of her home at 179 Highland. The tree...
Branch, could you just introduce yourself too, so people know
I'm
who
sorry.
you are? 'Cause-
Branch Lane Tree Warden.
Great, thank you.
In any event, 2-inch caliber trees. This is kind of a lowball estimate because these are trees that would be planted by town forces. You know, these are not by contract. But the reason being is the quality of the tree, as it it does do carbon sequestration. You know, it has value, great value, and it would not be a great loss to the town to have this tree removed.
Did you have,
The tree planting account, which would allow the Public Works to do it as part of their normal tree planting and replacement program.
and they've been working with the Shade Tree Committee on those recommendations?
Yes,
so-
very much so.
Yeah, yeah. Great,
And I
is there
have
anything you
pictures
want
here,
to
I
see?
don't know, because I had sent them, but I have them printed out as well of the tree in front.
I have it on my screen, so
Yeah, I've seen that, yeah. And I think part of the concern also that you had was the root systems affecting
Yeah.
the actual stone wall,
Yeah,
which
and as it got bigger, it had
began to
taken
impact
down
the stone
part of
walls.
that stone wall, and it was repaired last year, and now it has a new composite fence on top of it. So I am worried about the proximity of how close it is to the wall, and also that it does have that kind of invasive root system of that, and it lifts up. And it is mature now, so it might not grow that much more, but just going forward of potentially having an issue.
And I was, just for the board, the Historical Commission did meet on this, and we certainly don't like to see trees come down, but in this particular case, protecting the stone wall was an important issue, and because it was an invasive, although it's a nice canopy, it's nice to hear that hopefully something will be replaced and be able to put back there, but the Historical Commission did not have a problem with taking the tree down.
Yeah, so
And
that
any
was
other
my
comments?
only question was, do you want a tree to be planted back there? Only because trees, offer traffic calming measures.
Yeah, definitely.
So you're
Yeah, I think
interested.
It was my understanding that the tree, the fund would go into a pool of fund, not directly be replanted in that area, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I drive by it frequently, and I drove by it again on my way here. And yes, it is a loss of canopy, but you also have a nice stretch of white pines on the inside. And to the right of your property, it's kind of woodsy, so there's already a lot of trees surrounding it.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't, by removing the tree, you're not creating a big open void.
Yeah.
And most people probably wouldn't even notice that it's been removed, just because there's a lot of existing plant material, and mature existing plant
Yeah.
material, not just
Yeah.
an understory planting, but mature plantings around it.
Yeah. I've cleaned up a lot of the Japanese knotweed that was there, and then on the side, there is a lot of woodland, but it's mostly knotweed. So that's been kind of cleaned up, and then to do new plantings on the property side.
And your fence is pretty. It's really pretty with the wall and the type of fence that you chose.
Thank you.
So it provides privacy, but you can still see through it. It doesn't act as a total wall.
Yes.
And that's kind of my issue, is that if it is destroying the wall, or has the potential to destroy the wall in the future, I mean, I'm okay with you taking it down.
Anything else, Cheryl?
No, I have no issues with your requests, and I'm glad to have your recommendation and the Historical Commission's recommendation, so I'm fine with approving the application.
Do you want to make a motion?
Sure. I will make a motion to approve the scenic road tree removal at 179 Highland Street. It's Norway maple.
Oh, I'm sorry, you know what? We need to close the public hearing before. I apologize.
Then I'll make a motion to close the
If there's
public
anyone,
hearing.
is there anyone who wanted to
Just-
make a
just
comment? Yes,
indicate-
before we do
Just
close
to
it.
indicate, the tree warden's approval is contingent on receiving the check for $630.
Okay,
Okay.
great. Any other comments from the public on this particular hearing, not the next? Anyone online wish to speak to this?
May I speak?
Oh, sure, yes.
Hi, everyone. I'm Gene Earl at 120 Highland Street.
Can you, sorry, just need a microphone. Yeah.
Thank you. Gene Earl on 120 Highland Street. The Wells have a long history with that property, which I understand was an old chicken farm. And to me, they've done an amazing job. It's one of the better homes in Milton. Everything they do is, I think, an asset to the town. And my only complaint, being a neighbor, is charging them anything for the tree fund. They've spent a fortune up there. They've planted plenty of their own beautiful accent trees. And everyone I know on the street thinks highly of the Wells and would want to support them. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other one wish to speak to this public hearing? Seeing none, we can, if I could have a motion to close the public hearing for 179 Highland Street.
I'll make a
Tree
motion to
removal.
close the public hearing for the scenic road application for 179 Highland Street.
Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Now we can have a motion to approve the removal of the
So-
tree and the, yeah.
Could I get the exact name of that fund again, please?
Cooperative Tree Planting Account.
Tree planting.
And who manages that account?
Well, the town, there's several people, the town accountant, Public Works, if they take money out of that fund, it's used for purchase of trees. When you say authorization, I would say the Director of Public Works is the one who has to sign the bills.
And maybe this is a little off topic, but when trees are removed, in the wetland buffer, and the Conservation Commission, puts a fee, where does that money go to? Does that go into the Concom?
No, the Conservation Commission has a separate account, like a penalty account. However, they have a significant amount of money in there, but I guess it's either by bylaw or statute, they can only spend like $15,000 a year. So they have an application process if anyone in town is interested in tree planting, you can apply to the Conservation Commission for money to do that.
Do you know
Okay.
how much is in this particular fund? Just curious that the
Right now,
DPW
I think
manages.
there's like 16,000. I didn't bring that with me, but that's the number I think I last quoted to the tree committee. Unfortunately, the town budget has $10,000 in there. There's approximately 140 trees removed in town every year. So that 10,000, you can imagine at $300 a tree, what that comes out to for replacement. Fortunately, we were able to get money occasionally. The committee raised a significant amount of money in the 360 fund. They had a fundraiser.
Which
Hope-
account did that go into? DPW or
It's a
conservation?
separate account.
That's a whole separate?
Yeah,
okay.
it's titles 360.
Okay.
In addition, the cooperative tree planting account has about 16,000, something like that. And the town has been fortunate that Copeland has been generous as far as tree planting is concerned. And I think there might be a small amount of money left in that fund. But the fact of the matter is, in order to conduct a reasonable program to do tree replacement on an as-is basis every year, you really need like 40,000 in that account. And that's just for purchase of trees. The labor is on the town. But that would get 150 trees at 40. It's not happening right now. We have to politic more for it because, we're nickel and diming it with $10,000 a year. It covers just very little.
So-
Maggie will tell you that. She knows the values.
So do you run the account down to zero? Do you spend the 10,000 every year?
Oh, yeah, that 10,000 is gone in a heartbeat.
No, good. So you're putting the money to work. And is this typical when somebody wants to take a tree down in the tree belt that they get charged or they have to pay into this fund or?
That's typical.
Okay. And the 600 is based on 3 trees that you just kind of?
Yes.
Is that like a set
Yeah.
standard?
And as I say, because of the limited value of that tree, I came in with a figure that really is as low as possible for 3 replacement trees. The fire people will be in here talking about a much more significant number. I'm a member of another nonprofit board in this town, and we're getting hit by the Conservation Commission for inches and inches and inches and thousands of dollars for replacing a Norway maple tree. So, sometimes you're stuck.
Yeah. Well, because really, a Norway maple has 0 value.
Well,
I mean, from a
it captures
financial,
carbon, so
correct.
it doesn't have 0.
From an environmental, correct, from an environmental, but from a tree replacement perspective, it doesn't have any monetary value because we can't buy or sell Norway maples here in the state. So I understand what Mr. Urban was talking about. It actually has 0 financial value. And the other question I meant to ask is it really on their private property and not on the town's?
This is on town.
It's on the town's right away.
Surveyed and it's on town property.
So if it's on town property, isn't it the town's responsibility to take it down?
We would not be taking it down.
You wouldn't be taking it down?
No, the DPW won't take it down.
They won't take it
No.
down?
Even though it's doing damage or has done damage
Correct.
to your wall, they still would, they say leave it, move your wall?
Correct. Which is why there needs to be.
No, I get it. I'm just running it through in my
No, I
small
know.
brain.
I
So
went
you're
through
paying
it.
to get
It's been
take
6
it
months
down.
of trying it for one.
Yeah, so you're paying to take it down, then you're paying another $600 to,
Yeah.
yeah.
And the stone wall is on your property?
Yeah.
That's on
And that's
yours.
been
Partially
repaired.
on town property.
Yeah.
The stone wall?
According to your surveyor's stake?
Yes, yeah, it's maybe 10 inches or so, yeah.
Great. So back to our motion, if I could have a motion to approve.
So I'll make a motion to approve the scenic road Norway maple tree removal at 179 Highland, conditioned upon the payment of $630 into the cooperative tree planting account as recommended by the tree warden.
Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Thank you, Tasia.
Thank you. Okay, so next we have our scenic road tree removal request for East Milton Fire Station. And if we'd like to have the representatives of the fire station come forward.
Thank you. Brian Walsh, Chairman of the Fire Station Building Committee. Would you like me to explain
Yeah,
a little
just-
background on what's going on?
that would be great.
Okay,
Yes,
great.
please.
So we started our committee approximately 8 years ago now. Time is flying. There was no ambiguity as to what we needed to tackle first, which was the headquarters station. By the way, I apologize, we have 3 fire stations in town. All 3 of them need to be replaced or upgraded. They're terrible, terrible condition, and none of them met anywhere near the safety standards you would have today to protect a firefighter's health when they come back in. But the headquarters station had to be done first for lots of reasons, not the least of which, they were using a ticket tape system that was more than 100 years old just to keep track of where the fire alarms were coming in. But in any event, as we started the project, the committee started, one of the things that we did was said, look, can we rebuild the East Milton station on its current site? And there were a lot of concerns. In fact, we have a whole full report. We spent quite a while doing the analysis. And the site was not big enough. But even worse than that, about 75% of the district that the East Milton Fire Station covers is on the Milton side of the expressway. And when they built that, by the way, the fire station that's there today on site is the second fire station. It was replaced, it started around 1950 with the station that's there now. The irony is, by 1954, 53, the state had made a decision to sink the expressway, which dramatically changed the roads right around that fire station. And with 75% of the district they cover being on the Milton side of the expressway, the huge problem is it takes the fire engine a minimum of a minute to get from its station over to the East Milton Library. Well, even at my advanced age and not so physical prowess, I could probably take a rock and hit the fire station from the post office. It's an extremely short distance, and to lose a minute is a significant problem. The national standard for fire engines and fire safety is to reach 90% of the residences you cover within 4 minutes. And by the way, a minute is the best time. They can lose up to a minute and a half, if it happens to be around either the morning or the evening rush hour. So, could not replace it there. We went out to bid to see if we could get some properties to find a better location. We did an analysis. The town does own the Milton Arts Center, and there are lots of issues with the Arts Center, but even including that building itself, we would probably have to take down. So there's a large expense. It's a short street. Traffic comes around, and if we had the fire station there, they'd have almost no time to react if an engine was coming out of the bay there. So we put it out to bid, and honestly, the first round, we got some responses. They weren't necessarily the best, in other words, the best locations that people want to provide. So at the time, and still currently, Richard Wells, who is the member of the select board that's on our fire station building committee, is the coordinator. Both Richard and I are graduates of St. Agatha's school, and so we attended one of their business meetings and encouraged them to think about whether they might want to sell their property that they have never used. That property that's next to the rectory has never been used since they've owned it more than like 97 years. So we put it off a bid again, and in fact, they did. They bid for it. Now, it's just a stress, because if you're not close to it, how would you know? It's an absolutely ideal location for a fire station. Why? First of all, it's level. It's on a level lot. Comes out, it's not coming down a hill, going up a hill. The road it's coming out onto is extremely wide. And it's clear sight lines for quite some distance. So if an engine comes out, and there will be a light that'll be out there on the road that'll indicate an engine is coming out. But if an engine comes out, it's going to be clearly seen. And I'd like to, since we're so close to the elementary school, I'd like to put to bed a common misnomer. people worry about around the neighborhood, and we completely understand, well, gee, you're going to have an elementary school with all those young children nearby, and you're going to have a fire truck roaring out and going down the street, speeding down the street. Well, fire trucks don't speed. Police cars going to an emergency speed. Fire trucks go the speed limit, and there's lots of reasons, but the most significant, they're carrying a tremendous amount of water, which is very, very heavy, that can move around. So they go the speed limit, and in fact, the standard protocol here in Milton, it may be everywhere, is in addition to the person driving the fire truck, there's always a person in the other front seat, that's constantly watching to advise if there's anything the driver has to look out for. So I digress a little, but I wanted to kind of emphasize that that is a tremendous location for the area it's going to serve. It's going to get to 75% of its district significantly faster. And frankly, to get to the folks that are on the expression, the Quincy side of the expressway, they'll come out of that station, take a quick right and a quick right again on Squantum Street, and going up Squantum Street and accessing that district from there is actually faster because of all the traffic on Adams Street and think if you follow the Milton Times and others, you'll see that people are always complaining about the double parking and the other issues on Adams Street. So it's a great location. When St. Agatha's responded to the proposal, one of the things we quickly did is, all right, well, now we're going to look at what's the status of the project. There was a state project that the town's going to be involved in at the very intersection of Adams Street and West Squantum. They're going to go in there and change that, put new lights in. And, you know, even when we started 8 years ago, we expected it to be done in a couple of years, and we started talking to them about, well, we've got this, once we knew we were going to go to that location, we've got this island out there. And frankly, they were going to take that responsibility for that island, i.e. remove it, when they started their project, anticipating that they would be first. Well, they're not first. So why does the island have to go, and why does that tree have to go? And it's a lovely tree.
I know.
It really is. Because frankly, it's right smack in front of where we have a two. I don't have copies to pass around. I don't know if any of you have seen this. Happy to show you. It's a drawing, if you will. It's a two-bay station, and that island, it couldn't be centered more on those two bays. So the island has to go, so that those trucks can come out safely and turn right or left. And so I appreciate you holding the hearing. I'm not sure what else I could address. I know Branch has talked with our owner's project manager and our architects and all, and has asked if we'd make a donation to the tree fund. And maybe you could announce that.
Okay. I've gone over this with Alan Frawley, who is the project manager on site, and he and I had looked at that island with the tree right in the middle of it. We talked about, can we knock off part of the island? Can we do this? But the long dimensions of those fire trucks, there's just no way safely they could get out of there. So we looked at it, and it finally was concluded that the island and tree had to go for safety reasons to get the firemen to the fires. So as a result, we started talking about, well, you know, if we remove that, then we're really trading off part of the town's infrastructure on one end to provide part of the infrastructure on the other end for the fire department. So Al and I talked about it, and we finally concluded that it would be worthwhile to request a $2,000 contribution from the fire committee in order to remediate the issue of taking out that island. And it appears from my discussions with Alan and talking earlier with Brian that the committee was fully on board, and we appreciate the fact that they appreciate the fact that, you know, by taking this out, there's a lot of value that the town in general is losing. But in order to make their great project complete, it's really necessary. So anyway, from the tree ward perspective, The agreement was that they would transfer funds from their account into the cooperative tree planting account, and that was our agreement to approve of the removal of the tree in the island from the tree warden perspective.
So I do have a question. One of the values of a tree in this kind of location has to do with heat island effect, right? Because there's a lot of pavement here. Is it possible to plant in the adjacent island rather than somewhere else so that there could continue to be that benefit at this location?
I think there's a tree in the next island up, but I mean, we could do planting there. I mean, we could work with the fire organization and their manager to plant, in that area. Like, I was even thinking about the house across the street, who are going to lose their sight view. Whether they would like a tree on their lawn within the 20-foot setback, but we'd be certainly agreeable.
Or both?
Yeah.
And actually, if I could, there is room on the fire station property, not a ton of room, but to do some plantings, and it's our full intent to try to do something, especially with the tree. We're in the fine details of how wide the driveway will be, et cetera, but we will, in fact, do some plantings where we can on that property. And I would ask that if anyone has any doubt, take a look at the headquarters, because it's actually come out terrific, not just as a fire station, but we've done lots of plantings, and you'll see that it's very attractive, and it is, we didn't just leave it blank and just with some grass. I think you'd appreciate it.
No, I can attest to that. They did a great job over there. They did the whole perimeter, all the way out past Walnut Street.
Julie, can you bring up the photographs that were emailed to us? I just want to show you that island. We do have a photograph that was sent to us. That does
the other one?
It shows the adjacent
Oh, okay.
island. Yeah, so you can get a photo of it in a moment.
Hey, while she's bringing that up, I would just, I don't know if it's a caution or not, but I still don't know what the state is doing. Like, is that other island close to the Adams Street, Squantum Street intersection? Right?
It's further, I think it's still further enough away,
Okay.
but
And there
I'm
is
not
some
certain.
question on that project.
Because
Because there's land taking, and I know there's a lot of concern by neighbors. And a lot of the question is, why would they go ahead with a project? It's a DOT project, so it's not required by our town to do, that requires an incredible amount of land taking to some homeowners. And the question is, why would they go ahead with a project until they knew what the fire station was going to do and where your light was going to be to sequence anything? It should really be based,
Do you have it, Julia?
yeah, on how the fire station timing works too, so.
And just follow up, what kind of tree is it and what's the caliper at breast height?
I think it's a maple, and I believe, I don't know, just going by sight,
looking right now.
I'm going to say it's 10 to 12-inch caliper,
By Cheyenne.
It's pretty large.
like this.
Like sugar maple or red maple or?
Do you know what kind of tree branch it is?
I think it's a maple.
Maple, that's what.
Yeah, a sugar maple or a red maple?
I'm sorry.
A sugar maple or a red
I'm
maple?
assuming it's a red maple if
red
it's a maple.
Yeah.
The existing tree?
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll help. I have pictures from today.
Oh, okay.
Could you identify it from that?
And we're pulling some up too. That
Oh, okay.
one of the neighbors sent to us.
You can enlarge.
Yeah, I can't tell from here.
Thanks, Julia.
There, yeah.
That's great.
Doesn't really look like a maple at all.
No, it's, and I didn't get a chance to drive by.
Well, it's hard to tell, but it's not a maple.
Doesn't look like a maple
I
to
know,
me.
that's why I was, I
What do you
don't,
think, Maggie?
I don't know, I didn't have a chance to drive by, that's what I was wondering. I'm not sure what it is. I didn't have a chance.
tell.
But it's pretty mature, yeah.
It's lagging, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's
There
a
you go.
nice
Go the other
mature
way.
tree.
You gotta go the other way. There you go.
We need Carol stock.
But I can tell you, it's in good shape. It's in good health.
If you
Maybe
keep
if we go
scrolling
down,
down,
yeah.
you can see the island. Yeah, keep going. Oh.
I think that's a great idea,
That's
Cheryl, to
actually-
put
You
it.
have to get a little bit further left, too. Maybe it's the next photo? No, it was, keep going.
Second
maybe.
to last
Cheryl,
photo.
what is the island you're talking about?
We're trying to get to that photo. Hold on one sec.
It's more in front of the Keller building.
There
There
we
it
go,
is.
that photo. So you can see the tree in question's on the right in this photo. And then there's an island past that car in the middle.
Okay, on the left, you mean?
Yes. Well, it's in the center of the road also, but
Yeah, yeah.
you can see it on the left, amongst the cars.
Yeah, behind the, yeah. There. Yes, yeah, that would certainly be a good, an applicant. That would be fine.
So since you brought up the history of the project, I was going through the engineer report, and so I just had a couple questions. One, it said there aren't any existing bike lanes or facilities along Adam Street. So my question is, what happens when the bike lanes go in? I don't know if you reviewed the bike and pedestrian master plan. And so that plan is to connect Quincy to the Blue Hills. So I'm wondering, when that gets implemented, what happens?
So, yeah, a good question. Is it going to come down Adams Street at this, in front of the fire
I
station?
think it might be Brook Road.
Yeah, so I'm not exactly sure. I know they're putting, they want to put bike lanes in everywhere. So that's what I'm just wondering. If the bike lane does go down, what will happen then?
So I don't have a fully educated answer to it, but I will tell you this. I'm glad you brought it up, because I'll make sure that before we progress with any of the lighting controls at the fire station, that we investigate more of that and see if we can do something to accommodate that. Intuitively, I would think if a bike lane is going to come down Adams Street, well, and by the way, I'm a biker. I own a bicycle, I'm out. If it does, it almost would make more sense to put it across the street, just to have a little more reaction. Although, you know what, we're going to have an alarm and a traffic light right in front of the bays, and I suspect that would alarm a biker enough.
Yeah, that was one of my concerns with the bike and pedestrian master plan, was it didn't really go out to get neighborhood input. So my neighborhood we have issues on the bike plan, which we've submitted comments for. So I wasn't sure if this neighborhood was going to be impacted, and if they had any comments on that. So that was one. The other thing is the existing traffic was from 2019. So now we are in 2025. So I'm wondering if those volumes have changed at all?
The volumes of fire trucks runs?
Yeah.
Yeah, they haven't changed a whole lot. There are about 400 runs that have already happened from the East Milton Station so far this year, and that's in line with about 800 runs a year. And that station in particular, unlike Atherton Street, that station in particular represents a pretty fully developed clientele, if you will. There's not large parcels of land that would add more houses that could potentially force more calls. And then, I think as we all know, their medical issues are calls now that a lot of fire departments do. We haven't seen a large increase, to answer your question.
Well, especially now since we've got the Falcone 90 units going in, 440 Granite Ave, and then also the Flatley building is now in BTA zoning, and we just did approved at town meeting, the East Milton overlay. So I know you stated that most of the housing was on the Milton side, but actually the higher density is going to be on the Quincy side now, right? So
our concern when we were first considering that site, we talked about the two sides, was again the access. And again, there's only one active fire engine from that station, but it's a two-bay station. The Milton Fire Department has to carry a lot of other equipment, and it's best to keep that equipment, inside. So Meg, I think if anything, if the amount of other development happened enough on the Quincy side that it required more truck activity, I suspect the fire department would have to start considering, should they put a second truck in there? And that was one of the reasons we want to make sure that we have space for them to do that.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not questioning, I mean, it's going where it's going. So I'm just,
No, I'm glad you
since all this information was provided, I am reading through it and it has
Appreciate it.
prompted questions. So the other thing is, I thought in reading this that well, my question is, what is the final square footage of the firehouse? Because I think in it says it's a single bay.
It originally was.
Yeah, it was originally a single bay firehouse, and it's 5860 square feet. So I'm wondering, what is the final square footage of the building now?
So Meg, I would love to be able to answer that off the top of my head, but I can't. I'm looking quickly at our last meeting minutes. I'm not seeing it.
So you shouldn't have been provided this information, because now I read it.
We were actually hoping to have our architect here tonight, who was at the last minute this afternoon, informed me he couldn't be here. I would definitely put them on the spot for questions like that.
And what's the cost of the fire station?
The overall budget that we're dealing with is about $11 million.
So in a residential project, usually you like to see about 10% of the overall project cost be saved for landscaping.
Oh, is that right? Well.
So what percentage of 11 million is being reserved for landscaping to reduce the impacts of the building on the neighborhood?
I don't have the answer to that
Yeah.
question, but again, and I mean this sincerely, it's
Yeah.
not pushing you off.
Yeah.
Look at the headquarters, we take that really seriously.
No, it's so pretty.
Yeah, and we will, it's not, even on our current drawings, the point that we're at, we're not indicating any of that, but we've had conversations, we're going to make sure that we appropriately configure that space so that it looks, in fact, this building design, and I want to make sure as much of the people here.
The neighbors, yeah.
Yeah, neighbors see it. This building design, when we first had meetings with it, now that 5 years ago, it was more of a brick building. I'm sorry about that.
Speak into the microphone.
This building design was a brick building. It looked more like a commercial property. And the strong feedback we got from the neighborhood was, we don't want another commercial building just plunked in there. So we dramatically changed the design so it would look a lot more residential, as residential as a fire station could look, right? So again, we treat that perspective very importantly.
Yeah, my concern, it just seems to me, I mean, and I am a town meeting member, that a lot of times when information is presented to town meeting and they vote on it, by the time it then ends up actual time to build and construct, it's a little bit different than what town meeting voted on. We saw that with the memory care. We're seeing that with the whole school project and the land swap. And so now it just was the neighborhood aware that the fire station is now going to be bigger than what it is, and this the island is going to be gone, because that house right on the corner of Governors and Adams is fully exposed. So one of the reasons I was asking about what your landscape budget was perhaps there could be some trees, possibly if the homeowner wants it, placed along that property line, because in the photos that we got today, it doesn't appear as if there's a tree lawn area for the town to plant any trees on the public way.
Is this the photos of the new station or one of the properties nearby?
Yeah, one of the properties on the corner.
Can I just speak to that?
Oh, well, yeah.
So that's my house.
Oh, okay.
And
Do you want to come?
Can you come up?
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll let,
Oh, yeah, this picture. Yeah, sorry. I'm looking on my computer.
We were talking about across the street from that, right?
Across the street. Yeah.
I'm Jen Johnson Finocchio. I live at 4 Governors Road. I provided these photos. My house faces that. So I'm looking at that tree from my driveway. So once that tree is gone, that is my view now. So obviously, I'm very concerned about that traffic island being gone. If trees are planted along my property line, I will then no longer be able to back out of my driveway because it will completely block the sight line of traffic coming down Adams Street. So that's the issue with that. That's the point I
Yeah.
wanted to make. But I would be very open to ideas about providing some privacy, and I also would like to know where this traffic light's going to go that you're talking about, because that's where my bedroom window is. So,
When I say a traffic light, it's not a traditional traffic light. There'll be a light there that's designed to go off when the fire trucks have to come out, so it's a warning to all the traffic. So it's not going to be on constantly. I would say and I believe you attended, we've already had one neighborhood meeting on, didn't you attend that?
I did attend,
Saturday.
yeah.
And we'll have more, and be happy to work with you as we start getting, an idea of what we're going to be doing here.
so just some idea about how if that tree is gone, if that island is gone, what sort of traffic mitigation is going to be provided there? Because that island also, it does slow traffic down considerably, so that will all be lost.
so that is something that actually came up at the Historical Commission, and Ellen Ancelone, who's on the Fire Station
yes.
Building Committee, is also on the Historical Commission. And one of the things that I brought up was that exact thing, that those islands serve as traffic slowing, and also breaking up the massing of all the pavement, all the black asphalt that would be there once this island is gone. A suggestion that I had, which still gives the illusion and the sense of going around an island, would be to do a cobblestone apron where you break up the massing, but it's level so the fire truck can drive right over it, but it gives the slowing down. It could still be a little bit curved, so there would be a sense of going around that area, but accessible for fire trucks to drive right over. And it breaks up really what I see is a big swath of really wide black asphalt, which again, doing just an apron, because if you're having to take that island out, you're going to have to replace it with something. So, and it
That would be
gives
great.
a historic, because it is a scenic roadway and a
It sounds
historic
great to
road.
me, and I will take this back to our next meeting to begin.
And it's a historic roadway, so it gives a sense of keeping the character of the road.
The other thing the island does that would accomplish the same thing is that stops 4 lanes from forming.
Right.
Right past that
Yes,
point,
right.
4 lanes form, so then it
Right.
becomes even more difficult to pull out of my driveway, therefore will be even more difficult for the fire trucks to pull out. So,
Yeah. And the
Clear
speed of the
signage.
cars, yeah, because it is a raceway, like they go through that light,
What you're worried
at Center Street, and then they go up, or vice versa, both ways into East Milton. So that was something that we thought, and then it would be great to work with
It sounds
the
like a great
neighbors
idea, and I'll get
on
on
the
that. 'Cause,
trees.
we certainly, there's a neighborhood association up here at the headquarters, and I have to tell you, we worked with them a lot, and they're extremely happy with the outcomes. Here is I'm not trying to promote my business. Here's my business card. It has my cell number on it. At any point you see something going on, you have concerns, call me directly.
That's great. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to speak? Yeah, from... Great.
Hi. I'm Kathleen Powers, and we live at 8 Governors Road, so we're
Okay.
right next to Jen and David. So I just want to ask Chair Walsh a question, because I do appreciate all the attention to keeping the area attractive, but I'm very concerned about the safety in that area, very concerned. And to hear that bike lanes, like, I'm a mom, common sense, I would not let my kid ride a bike on Adams Street. I mean, really? And now we're gonna put a fire, I mean, we had a child that went to St. Agatha, great, loved the experience. My husband was hit by a teacher texting in the parking lot. Okay, there are grandparents that pick up, that is a free-for-all coming out of that place. And they try, and believe you me, it's controlled it's controlled chaos as best as possible. So I live in fear that at 2:30, when those kids are dismissed, that the fire alarm goes off. And now you've got everybody backed up in, as Jen said, now they're making 2 lanes, somebody's going to Brook Ave, and you're backed up, and the fire truck's trying to get out. And Chris has assured me they're not going to come up Governor's Lane, they're not going to be, Governor's Road, they're not going to be able to because you can't get the truck up that way, and now you're in a mess. I also go to work in Boston. When the kids get dropped off in the morning, it's a tough area. It's a tough place to put a fire station. And now that we're there, the safety concerns are my biggest worry. At the meeting we had at the parish, we were told that the light at Adams and Squantum and the light that was going to control the fire station departure were not the purview of the fire station committee, and you had no report on it. We heard from years about a light going in at Squantum and Adams. We're hearing now about the exit for the fire truck, and without an island, because if there's an island there, you can see where there would be a blinking light, slow down. Where is that light going to go for that? And what is the status on that light with Adams and Squantum? I mean, you've all taken it. You've all come off that exit. You've all tried to make the left. And what's fascinating is people come they're just going to 50 miles an hour down. And when you come off and you live on Governor's Road, you've got to make a quick right. So you're coming off, you're going 10 miles an hour to make the right, and somebody's coming up right behind you. So this is, we've heard the crashes, we've seen the FedEx truck make the wicked U-turn there. So I think that cobblestone may look nice and pretty, and I think we need to do something like that. I mean, we need to do something, but safety, we're talking safety, and we're not, are we waiting for a bad outcome? That's just, that's all, so I think that all of that is to say, what is the status of those lights? And, again, if it's a Department of Transportation and it's not a city, it's not a town thing, how is this all gonna come together? Just kind of connect the dots.
That's why I think our town needs to go first before the state, which is going to bring as much traffic into Milton as fast as they can and get them off the highway.
Yeah, but how does that put the light?
Well, I think we should know with the fire station,
I
yeah.
wish I could tell you what's going
Yeah.
on with Squantum and Adams.
Right,
Right. I can't, right? We 8 years ago.
They've been
we were under the impression
redesigning
they were
it.
only a couple
Yeah.
of 3 years away from it. But what I can tell you is that every fire station, they do have to have a light out front.
Right.
It may not be on the street, by the way. We don't know the place, and we had to get by this island issue and what's left, and I kind of like the gravel idea. But we do have to have a light that warns the public a fire truck is coming out of the station.
Right. May I suggest that you have leverage here now to go to whomever it is makes
To
the
the state.
decision about, and use that leverage. And, we are happy as neighbors to help with that leverage. I mean, we can't wait until an 8-year-old is killed or a family gets wiped out at that Squantum and Adams. And I don't mean to be dramatic about it. We all live through it. We all do it. We've all seen it. So, I mean, I think that use the leverage, use the, fire department, you've told us, safety, people on East Milton Square are going to get served quicker, all those things. But guess what? Now that we've put it here, that's now forced the issue of that light at Squantum and Adams, So I think that's.
So I hear you loud and clear, and I
yeah.
will do that. The
Yeah.
only other thing, and I keep forgetting to mention, the irony to this is that today, the average of 3 calls a day that come out of the East Milton station, 2 of them already go up in front of where we're putting the new station. So we're not adding a lot more traffic to Adams Street.
No, I'm not worried about that, yeah.
No, I know, I understand that.
I'm worried about that yeah. Anyway, so that's just my.
I think it's a
my
great
2 cents.
idea
Okay.
to try to leverage
Okay.
the
Yeah.
state, because
Yeah.
we have none now, so I'll get on that.
And just as a side note, I am very concerned about safety too, and I live on the other side of town dealing with Route 28. And MassDOT just went to the selectmen's meeting the other night, and we did have 3 fatalities. And it was all speed related. and it's cut-through related, and it's the fourth fatality within a year. There was another fatality in October. I asked MassDOT, are you actually really going to do something? Is it worth my time advocating and my neighborhood's time advocating? I said, I don't like to waste my time. And they said, oh, we'll be in touch. So I hope they are paying attention now because of what is happening in town, throughout the whole town,
Is there anyone else who would like to speak? A couple of others that, yes, welcome.
How are you?
Good.
Thank
you.
Hi, my name is Tom Caldwell. I'm a resident of Milton. I live on St. Agnes Road, and I'm also a town meeting member for Precinct 6. So I was just here. I received a notice from the planning board about this tree. And I live on the St. Agnes Road extension that was built when St. Agnes School was built. They moved the houses there. So I'm very close to the rectory and the proposed new fire station. But to get back to my point, I want to thank you, planning board, for the notice that you sent to our street. Because when this fire station building project began, from the negotiation of the land purchase, the construction, the changing from 1 to 2 bays, all that, no one from our street got a notice. No one from our street was told. I am very sympathetic and supportive of my neighbors from Governor's Road and on Adams Street, and I'm glad that they were noticed. We were not. We found out about this project through the diocese, the archdiocese. So that was a little troubling for us on the street. But for St. Agnes Road and the other streets, we want to thank you, Planning Board, for bringing attention to us about the tree that's being taken down. But for me as a citizen and a resident of that neighborhood, it's not about that one tree. It's about the dozen or so trees that were cut down by the garage by the rectory. These were like 50, 60-year-old pines that were planted when they built the church. I believe Monsignor Ryan did that. So my question is, what's going to be done about those trees? Because if you live there, it has dramatically changed the landscape of the neighborhood. We are the most congested area of town, the most highly populated. We have noise pollution, air pollution, the airplanes. Those trees created a great canopy and barrier between Adams Street, the noise on Squantum, and absorbing, obviously, I think, some of that air pollution that we all face. So I'm here to comment, and I'm complaining. I'll give you that. But I want to know what's going to be done about all those mature trees that were ripped down to make this project. I don't know why they were. That's an extremely wet area. They're putting in some type of drainage system now. But I just want to know, what are we doing? We're talking about replacing one tree. What about all those other ones? And I would hope that the planning board and the fire station building committee would come up with some type of an aggressive plan to plant some more mature trees and barriers in that area for the neighborhood. And especially given all the pollution there and noise pollution, that's something that would be done. I don't know if Sustainable Milton has weighed in on this. I trust they should. We're cutting down trees at a pretty intense rate in the town, and I respect the tree warden and all the great work that he does in trying to replace these trees and picking the right trees. But I just want to know, what are we going to do? We're talking bike lanes. Are there going to be trees being cut down for bike lanes? We're talking about the land swap. How many thousands of trees are going to be cut down for that? So that's my issue here before you, planning board. And I know there's probably not a solution to this here, but it was addressed in the master plan in 2015. And the master plan goes on and on about trees and what we need to be doing on our main roads and replacing trees, which I know the tree warden does a great job doing, given his limited resources. But there's also discussion of a tree bylaw, protection bylaw in the master plan, and replacement, and I think that should be pursued, frankly, as a citizen of the town. So that's why I came here tonight. I'm here just to to voice my concerns. I want to thank everybody, the board, our tree warden, Mr. Lane, Mr. Walsh, head of the Fire Station Building Committee, for all the work that they've done for the town. But like I said, I just want to figure out what we're doing with all those other trees that were cut. So that's all I have. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you, everybody, for your work.
Thank you.
And I don't think it's really sustainable, Milton, who's, you should be talking to, even though they're a great.
Oh, of course.
But they're not an official town body. However, we do have the Shade Tree Advisory Committee, and they go around and do the tree counts. And I do believe that they were trying to come up with a tree bylaw. And I share your frustration because when you're a business or you have to replace trees at a certain replacement, and traditionally, like Concom, it's like 3-to-1, or if you do shrubs, it's 6-to-1. So I was sort of wondering if, while that fire station building is being built and you're going to have all these big pieces of equipment there, couldn't they just transplant that tree someplace else? So
The one from the island? you mean?
Yeah, yeah.
My understanding is it's too large, and maybe Branch could address this.
You know,
It wouldn't
it's funny,
survive it.
I had thought about that, but you know, I probably, maybe I should have got some, I had thought about that, but, you know, in thinking of what it costs to bring in the type of equipment necessary to move a tree like that, it just, to me, would not seem cost effective. It would probably, and this is a guess, I'm gonna say $5,000-$10,000, maybe more, to bring in the kind of equipment. Then, when you take the tree out and you go somewhere else to plant it, well, you know, it's marginal to have the replant be successful, because very, very difficult to maintain a 6-8-inch caliper, 10-inch caliper tree like that. So that was one of the thoughts that I had, but it just, as I say, for the cost and benefit you'd get, I just didn't feel it was worth it to even.
Yeah, how long has that tree been there?
I'm going to guess this is a guess. I'm going to say 50, 80 years, something like that.
Really? You think it's that old?
Oh, yeah, I think so. I don't believe there's been any work done there since I can remember.
I feel like those islands are relatively newer than that.
Well, there was.
I mean, I'm 56
I think they
and I
were
remember.
when Reva Levin was in the DPW department, she was doing a lot of islands and doing
Yeah.
tree installations in islands. I think it was during that.
So I'll go back to what we have jurisdiction over, which is really just the question of the tree in the island. And I think Brian will take the other comments, which are really more
Absolutely.
the Fire Station Building Committee kind of purview.
And if there's a
But-
landscape plan, maybe you can
Right.
review that at the
In fact,
neighborhood
if I could
plan.
just add this, when we're done with the construction, there is room behind the fire station. I'll make sure that we work on plantings to help enable it there. And I'll follow up with Tom. I'll make that commitment here. We
Because-
haven't done that yet. We haven't figured out what we're going to do.
Because I do feel like with, Cheryl, you brought up it's a heat island. So the root system of the tree is probably not that extensive because it has asphalt all over it, all around it. So yesterday I just planted a tree down at the, because I maintain islands around town, down at the Adams Street, Randolph Ave, and Canton Ave intersection. So I planted 2 trees there probably 3 years ago, and I think somebody just recently hit it and snapped it. So yesterday we were down there planting one, and it's the root system stays fairly compact because there's no room for the roots to grow. So that's why I would think that it might be somewhat easy to grow. And we also just transplanted the Japanese maple from the library that was there for several years and just put it over at the Council on Aging. And that had a high success rate. And you just see municipalities and institutions saving their trees because I think there's more value both from a financial perspective and an environmental perspective to save large trees. So I would think that tree could probably be moved somewhat successfully. But I know it's not our jurisdiction, and, to go against the firemen, it's like anti-American, practically. And and I like our firemen. But it's just, we're here to protect the neighbors, and we're here to protect the trees, and I've been an advocate for trees, for my whole life practically. And so I just understand the value, and I would not want this whole neighborhood to suffer because, as Tom said, all the trees that are being lost.
So I'm going to come back again to our jurisdiction because the trees that are lost on the property are not our jurisdiction. And I'm going to ask again that the Fire Station Building Committee and the neighbors get together on their landscaping plan to address neighbors' concerns. The matter before us tonight, relative to that tree, I'd like to address that concern that I made about the heat island and have you pursue, Branch, if you will support the idea of putting a tree in that adjacent island, and a tree that's of the largest size that can be planted reasonably there, and then the balance of what you think that value is, if there's additional balance, then that would go to the fund. Because that's what's within our jurisdiction here on
I
a
know the
scenic road
fund would take
application.
care of that.
Yeah, okay. So,
It'd be great to have that planted
So-
in that other island, yeah.
yeah.
That would
so-
probably be like a 2.5 inch caliper tree, because, anything larger, it's just too
Okay.
difficult to get enough water and maintenance to it.
Okay, and that was the other thing. How easy, I was wondering about that too, in terms of you can plant a tree, but it needs water, right?
Well,
So-
I just planted a 3-inch tree at that island yesterday, and we just did it by hand. And so I'm a firm believer, when we probably have a difference of an opinion, we plant larger size caliper trees all the time. I am a firm believer that we should always plant bigger, because so many trees come down every year. And my other question was about the $2,000 contribution, because just the hearing right before you, she is contributing $630 to their tree fund on a tree that really has no financial worth, and it's on the town's property. And so I'm questioning if 2,000 is actually enough.
2,000.
Yeah, I'm questioning if 2,000 is enough compared to what the Highland Street resident is paying, $630.
Is enough or should be more?
Should it be more?
Well,
But I don't think that's in our jurisdiction
say,
either,
I-
so,
Yeah.
We're going to
so,
use a lot more than 2,000,
Yeah.
taking care of the trees that the neighbors will be concerned about out back, et cetera.
Yeah,
and these guys have a great track record. As I say, if you take a walk around the Central Fire Station on Canton Avenue, they did a tremendous job over there. I would have great faith in their organization to deal with the neighbors and make it right.
So in terms of, I think Meredith's and the Historic Commission's recommendation of a cobblestone
Apron.
apron to demarc where that island was, right? So really it's for traffic guidance, right? I think that makes sense. Putting the tree in the island, I think makes sense. So what then, would it still be a $2,000 contribution, or would it be?
Yeah, we'd do it out of the 2,000.
So instead of 2,000, we're not asking for all three, I guess is my point. We're asking for the apron and the tree, but we're not asking for any further dollars?
No, 2,000 will cover the tree. The apron is
Less the
something
cost,
else.
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
$2,000 to cover the
cover the planting and...
And then the excess would be
additional
plantings.
plantings.
Okay,
And additional plantings.
all right.
So to the apron point, is there a possibility, or can someone look into giving the apron, the cobblestone apron, a little bit of a grade? I mean, not to obscure a fire truck, but something that would, instead of being perfectly flat. You know, I've seen them on small rotaries where the center of the rotary is a planting, but around the perimeter it's sort of a curb that has a very small grade, so you know when you're running over it, but a car could go over it if it had to. It might be more of a traffic calming issue.
Back to the committee, I never even thought about this before tonight, so we'll have to investigate the cost and the options. And Jim, it's a good point. We'll have to find out what would be not too high for a fire truck to not only just go across it, but not rip it up.
Right.
Get big tires.
And then the other thing you can reference, a couple years ago, town staff, I think it was somebody in the DPW they spent time and then gave us a presentation on the low-impact design standards. So it's a great presentation, and so any of that should try to be incorporated somewhere, either in your design on site, but also in the public.
And that's a film or something they have?
Yeah, it was a presentation that DPW did for us.
Could I just ask for a little guidance on this? I think that it's, oh, sorry. I think it's great that you sort of have the, you know, thank you for saying that it's not just about the fire station, but it's also about the neighborhood. Jen's not going to be able to back out of her driveway. So there is, while the fire truck can go over that, she's not going to be able to back out of her driveway. I don't know who takes that up. I don't think it's the Fire Station Building Committee, and I don't think it's the Planning Board. Who takes that up? Who is looking at that piece of Adams Street to make sure that it is livable, safe, traveling? You know, who is that? Is that, I mean, is
It
that?
should be the Department of Public Works.
Okay, so could we, like, you know, this is like the circle of hell here, like, really, I mean, you know, you don't connect the dots, you end up with trouble, so.
That would be the
How
fire
does
station.
one access the
The
Department
Fire
of Public
Station
Works?
Building
Through
Committee.
the
of
Fire
DPW.
Station Building Committee should contact the
Okay.
Department of Public
Okay.
Works and stay in
So
touch with
Please
Brian.
keep in mind that while I know your priority is getting the truck out,
Yeah.
it's not going to help if the neighbors can't live their lives. I mean, I think that's, so I think we have
We're
two
going to have
agendas
subsequent
here.
neighborhood meetings, and I'll make sure they're on the agenda.
Okay, and so while
And I'll bring
that,
the DPW
while the
to that
lovely,
meeting.
I love the, you know, we love, that's great. What are some other options that will absolutely mitigate the traffic risk, allow for people to access it? Because it's, you know, we've got also other neighbor, I mean, that is a wicked corner there, you know? And we'll just, that would be great. I think that would be great, because I think we're, as neighbors, we don't know where to go. And we kind of drop into these things as things affect us, right? We're not following town politics every single day, you know, so I think that's, or town efforts every single day. So thank you.
Yeah.
That would be great. Thanks.
Brian, that might relate to the Traffic Commission, of which the DPW director is chair.
Maybe they could come to the next meeting at the parish. Maybe that could be a good idea, to have the DPW people come.
Yeah, to the next community meeting, whether it's at the parish or whatever,
At the
yes.
parish, wherever you have it, right? That'd be great.
I'll tell you right now, that will happen.
Yeah, okay. Great.
I'm sorry.
Sorry,
Great.
sorry.
I'm fired.
All right, so I think unless there's anyone online, we could probably close the public hearing at this point.
Well, I've just got a quick
Oh,
question.
sorry.
Are you guys on budget for the fire station?
So,
And I'm only asking because
No,
landscaping always comes at the end of the job.
yeah. Oh, no, we're on budget. We're on budget for the East Milton Station. But just from 30,000 feet, when we started this project some 8 years ago, both our owner's project manager, which you have to hire by law, and our architect all made the point that, look, you know you got to do 3 stations, put them all out to bid together to get the best price, right? And so as we were preparing the plans, so we would have something to put out to bid, COVID hit. And when COVID hit, it drove all the uncertainty of price, drove all the prices up right away, and the uncertainty. And so we realized then, all right, we have to break these projects up. Let's just do the most important one, which is the headquarters. So what we anticipated back 8 years ago was we could do what we needed to do for about $34 million for all 3 stations. That is no longer true. But do we have enough to finish Engine 2, San Agatha's station? I shouldn't be calling it that. Anyway, yes, we have enough to do that in the landscaping.
Because the landscaping always comes last, and if Maggie's 11% is accurate, I'd hate to see you, with upset neighbors, make a lot of promises and then say, we're at it though.
Understood. And let me just throw it, there's a couple other things in play. The town, I've been to a few select boards meetings recently, the town is trying to make their final decision as what to do with the old property. Now, it's a small property and was not conducive for us to rebuild the fire station for reasons I already discussed. But it's a valuable piece of property. Regularly, there are companies, usually banks, that have made inquiries to the town about buying that property. And so I'm 98% certain that the select board is going to make the decision to sell it, and I'm trying to strongly influence them to take the proceeds of that and put it to our projects so that we do things like finish Engine 2 San Agatha Station properly, or East Milton Station properly.
I'm sorry, if you're on budget, why would you need that money to finish this station?
Well, we finish that, I'll go to the next station.
Atherton, it's really...
We have Atherton Street is...
I understand Atherton, there's no money left for that, right?
Well, again, whatever's left from finishing this will go to Atherton. But is there enough to finish Atherton? No.
Right.
So in just a total off subjects, but since again you brought it up, I would advocate, again, as a town meeting member, not for the town to sell that building. We are always in need of looking for additional space. For instance, we just sold the Kidder Library a year ago, and then now all of a sudden there are residents on that side of town who are looking for a community space. So now the town gave up our asset, and now we are in need of an asset, and we sold it at half the value of the valuation that came in. We sold it. So from a planning perspective, we never know what our future needs are. We are growing at a rapid pace. We just passed a plan to increase our housing by 25%. So my thinking is that we are going to need more town space, and I don't think that selling a town asset at this time is probably wise. And at one point, and I don't know if it's true or not, but we had town employees actually not in town hall working, but we were renting space in Quincy for them to work. So that's why I would not advocate for selling. I think but if we got $1 million for it, I think we would be giving up way more in the future.
This isn't
But
the
that's,
meeting.
yeah, I know, but you brought it up.
No,
I had to
understand. Let me give you this point and counterpoint. One of the other problems, we had to spend $50,000 on that station, even though we knew we were vacating it, because the floor is collapsing. There's an open bay underneath where the fire engines park, which you never do now when you build a fire station. And so there's a tremendous amount of repair work that would have to be done by somebody. And it's also that one of the things the town used to say is, we could use more parking down East Milton Square, and nobody would argue that. But it's such a small lot, that fire station lot, I'm not sure what they could do, but understood.
Yeah.
Yeah, the state, again, a little sidetrack here, but when the state decides whether a property is surplus for a department, then they seek other departments first before disposition. So it is a process that a town, should really look at all of their assets and decide whether there's any surplus, anything that could be declared surplus or used for another use that there's a need for in town. So I do think that if you do talk to the select board, again, maybe the select board and the planning board should talk, just with our suggestions about thinking it through carefully. I understand the need for the funds, but
Long-term.
Long-term planning, I think, is really important, so, but I would like to make a motion to close
Yes.
the public hearing at this point.
Is there a second?
Second.
The one contingency is that the committee transfers $2,000 to the cooperative tree planting account, and that's contingent to my approval.
And I would like for it to go towards planting a tree in that island and to put the cobblestone apron in, so.
That's fine.
yeah.
You know, I had made a note about that, and I'm assuming you're talking about the island closer to East Milton Square or the other one?
Closer to Squantum, the other one.
Closer to
Sort of
Squantum.
Okay. I'm not sure if that island might have some contingency with the state project. You know, the
That's for the-
next island up, Brian?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that question. I wonder the same thing.
Well, in looking at the plans that we
They were originally going to
received-
put 2 lanes, but they decided not to do that because they reduced.
Yeah, I just don't know where.
Because it didn't make sense because the 2 lanes would not go to.
Yeah, I just don't know where that project is at.
This is not as far down as that, I don't believe. So I do think it's right. This island is, on the other side of, if you're Governor's Road and Libby Road, if you're coming from Governor's, the island with the tree is on the right, but immediately on the left is the other island that doesn't have a tree. And that's not as far down as the intersection with Swanton.
On the left,
Yeah,
on
you
the
wanna
left from
pull-
the
you wanna
island that
pull-
we're talking about
pull
from
the
the
plan
fire
up?
station, on the left is going toward East Milton.
I'm looking at the plan that we received, so I'm just going to ask Julia to pull the plan up.
Oh, unless
so we
you're
can-
looking, it depends on your perspective.
Right, so
Okay.
if we pull the
Yeah,
plan up,
if-
we'll
If
see.
you're saying it's closer to Squantum Street, I understand what you mean.
Yeah, I think we can just be clear, though, for everyone, just to
Okay.
pull the plan up. You want to do this motion, Jim? Or you want me to do it?
I want to abstain, actually.
Well, actually, we're going to close the public hearing first. We need to finish. We had a second. All in favor of closing the public hearing?
Yes.
Aye. All right, then I'll make a motion when you're ready, but let's get the plan up.
So do we get to discuss any more, the 4 of
Yep.
us, or?
Now we
okay.
can, now there would be a motion.
We can discuss after the motion or before.
Yeah, it would be,
Yeah, just and
or
to
if you want to discuss
clarify,
it now, too.
it's, that whole island is going away. The whole,
Yeah, right. So if we're
There's
spending. if
multiple
we're-
islands in the...
Well, I think it's prudent to be sure that the island that we're committing $2,000 and a new tree to is not going to be taken by the state. So until I get that answer, I wouldn't vote for this, because we're just throwing our money away. That's where I am on this. I love
Well, I think
the
there-
curb idea, I love transplanting the tree, I think it's great, but I think that until we have answers,
If you look at the distance away these are from one another, I don't think this island was impacted by it. There's
Well, Cheyenne could probably get that information.
Cheyenne will no longer, is no
gone.
longer
She's
an
gone
our
tomorrow.
employee.
To Texas.
Gee, 'cause
Well, I can, you know what,
no wonder
Steve
she
O'Donnell
returned
has,
my call today.
so we can make it contingent on it being possible, but the issue is with the state is they keep going back for redesign and revisions, so it's been changing. So,
And I'm assuming the Director of Public Works, as chairman of the Traffic Commission, might
Well,
be able
no.
to provide me
Yeah.
some information
Yeah.
about that.
And I'm just saying, this Quantum project was recommended to the DPW asked the state to get involved in that. So the DPW can withdraw their interest in it
Right.
if that's what's decided to
The
do.
town
It's
controls
not
it.
a state
yeah.
roadway, so it's not a state-imposed project. It was a town-begun project. This goes back some time, but it was DPW directors, at least 1 or 2 ago, maybe that initiated that. But I think what it came back was, once people understood what would be required, then it got paused. And it's been paused for some time, I think, because there was concern about land takings and so forth. So I don't know that if that goes forward, whether it would go forward in the form that it was last shown. And if you look at this plan, can you zoom in on that, just on those islands, Julia? So, and I'm also looking on the town's GIS map on my laptop here. And so the island is just to the left there.
Yep.
And that's the one that we saw in the photo that doesn't have trees in it. And then you can see further to the left
Yeah.
is another island.
Yep.
That's the one that's closer to Squantum yet.
Uh-huh.
So this island is, I think, out of that project scope. But it can be confirmed with the DPW
I
director.
can check with
Yeah.
Marina, because she, as I say, she's the chairman of that traffic commission.
Right.
And I'm sure that they were involved.
Well, she would know what's happening with the project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if at all possible, I think, yeah, having a tree planted
Right.
there.
No, I think it's all a great idea. I just don't want to see us throw away $2,000. That's
No,
what
So
I'm
I'm
still
going
would
to
be
see if I
getting
can
it.
craft a motion to approve the scenic road tree removal application for the East Milton Fire Station with a condition that $2,000 be contributed to the cooperative tree planting account as recommended by the tree warden, and that those funds go towards the planting of a tree of 2 to 2.5 inch caliper at the island that I think would be to the west of the island that's being removed, and that a cobblestone apron be placed at the boundaries of the existing island that's being removed, if there's no objection from the DPW director.
Just a question, where, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but where are the funds coming from to do all of this additional work?
It's coming from I thought you said that it could come from those $2,000 or the building project, but
Well, I wish you could remove that, because I also want to meet with the neighbors. This is all new to me, and I don't even know what the appropriate design or size and what they even cost. I'm clueless.
okay, then
Could we say something like appropriate traffic mitigation? Something like that?
Yeah, I like
Sorry, I don't mean to interject, but like, is there something?
yeah, the little bit of challenge for us is that the traffic mitigation is really kind of outside of our purview for this. But I mean, I think you heard that we encouraged, based on I appreciate your comment about you don't know which place to go to and which one has jurisdiction, and I think that's why we had the discussion here, that even though we knew that really much of that was not in our jurisdiction, so that you would get the platform and that the committee would hear it. And it's on record now, and it'll be, on tape and in the minutes and so forth. So that's my concern about putting that to the motion.
So you don't even put the cobblestone, you're just saying you're moving the tree, right? If that's
Well,
under jurisdiction.
we feel as if the cobblestone is a part of the purview that we have with the scenic road.
Because it's a scenic road.
It's just because it's a scenic road.
Cost is and what would work out
Well,
best. But
yeah.
I don't know if it's worth it. I've been involved in many things with the town for many years. I absolutely commit, I'm going to try to do whatever's best for the neighbors in your suggestion for that item.
So
What we can afford.
So what I'm going to say is, if we approve this with this condition, and you can't meet this condition, you'll have to come back to us. Because what
Who are you looking at?
the applicant, the applicant.
Okay, all right, well,
Because,
yeah.
because the way our approvals work is, if it doesn't work, they find that they can't do it,
It holds everybody accountable, that's.
Yes.
then it has to come back to us for an amendment. We've had all of our permits.
That's fine.
are that
It's just
way.
the language was of some concern to me.
Okay,
That we
which
were
part?
mixing 2,000 for tree replacement and added on cobblestones.
For the
You know?
same 2,000, I understand.
What's that?
For the same 2,000.
Yeah,
understand,
that's what
yeah.
it
That's
sounded.
Branch's
Yeah.
concern, and I understand that.
Yeah.
And then, and mine is, I just have no idea. We do have so much money left to finish the station. and we're going to do other plantings, what we've done, I don't know what that's going to cost yet and what will work well with the neighbors.
So I just want to say, like, scenic roads are not just trees in terms of the purview that we have with scenic roads. And, you know, stone walls fall into it. And, you know, so this is, I think within our jurisdiction to request that as part of it. I mean, we've had other applications where stone walls have to be replaced. You know, they have to find the stone that matches. You know, it's not unusual for an application that this be something that we can condition it on. So it's not purely the tree. That's why I asked if 2,000 is enough, and it should be this, and 2,000, because I'll change my motion if that's what it should be. And if for some reason you know, in your committee, Brian, you find that this is not a reasonable condition, you can just come back to us.
I will come back.
Yeah.
And I want you to know, I'm going to make every effort to work something to not only satisfy your suggestion, but something that will satisfy the neighbors as well.
Great.
So there's going to be two things. Our vote is a condition, and our suggestions are other things, right?
Yeah.
So the conditions are not just suggestions, right? They are conditions of that approval. I just want to be clear about it because,
Amen.
you know, this is a little unusual because our scenic road applications aren't usually for municipal, you know, applicant. And honestly, it's one of the things that I've been on the planning board. I'm in my 11th year, so a long time. And, you know, we don't have in Milton a provision really to review, for the planning board to review municipal projects. Other communities do. So like the fire station might, in a different town, might have to be reviewed by their planning board, and they would review the landscape plan. But we don't have that in Milton. And so we haven't really had, what we have more is, you know, homeowners is what we've had. But we've also had daycare centers and other things that are on scenic roads that we review.
Yeah.
The memory care.
is on a scenic road.
And so, so it might be something that, I don't think Atherton will fall under a scenic road. But, you know how you came to the planning board to give us an overview of the headquarters project early on? You know, I'm not sure if we had a similar overview for the East Milton one, but certainly I think the Atherton one would be a good one to come back for. But yeah, so the condition, again, if you find that there's something about that apron that is not proper for the safety of the vehicles and so forth, I think you would just have to come back and ask us to amend our approval.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
So quick question for you, Brian. Let's just say hypothetically you got the approval just to remove this tree and pave over the island. Is that coming out of your budget? So you do have some money allocated to take care of this road work. It's not DPW funds, it's fire station funds, right?
That's a great question. That's my architect had the answer to that.
Gotta get that guy over here.
No, I think that's within their project.
Within the fire station.
All of
So-
my discussion with their project manager has indicated that
Branch has been working with them, and
Right.
I believe it, so
So to do the cobblestone idea, it would be just adding a little bit more to that
Right.
line item.
Right.
Okay. So you kind of have control of that is where I'm going with this.
Understood.
And the other thing is the tree won't be removed too prematurely, correct? You're not just going to go in and cut down the tree?
Okay.
it would be removed contingent upon transferring 2,000 to the cooperative tree planting account. And then whatever other permits they would need, road opening permits, insurances, whatever. But as far as I'm concerned, unless there were any objections, then as soon as that money was transferred, I would give them a permit to go ahead and remove the tree.
So the neighbors wouldn't have a tree there while all the construction was going on. So all the existing native white pines have already been cut. So now the site is a wide open site with a lot of dust and debris, and there aren't any trees to help capture that. So why is removing the tree necessary at this point in time when the tree is really only impeding the trucks when they're leaving, and that won't happen until the station is actually built?
Well, part of it is that they have a construction project going on, and they have planned phases, and they're trying to meet all those phases, and we're getting into the end of summer, and they're going to want to finish by as soon as possible. So, I mean, they're trying to do as much as they can in as little time as possible.
I have an important point on this exact subject to make. We're also trying to make sure that we complete anything that would be disruptive or impactful to the school year before the school year begins. In fact, when we purchased this land, the Archdiocese in St. Agatha's made a requirement in the P&S that we finish the new driveway, which we did immediately, only in July and August. And I am sure they're going to want us to remove that island, if at all possible, before the school year begins.
Well, they want to remove the island because instead of taking a right, which they were forced to do, they're taking a right and a left, which is now dangerous there. Okay, so they're crossing.
Without a light.
So, you know, that driveway was set up so that everyone had to take a right and go around.
the microphone?
Sorry. The driveway was set up. The driveway was set up so that when you come out, the island is there, you have to take a right. Now they're taking a right and they're scooting up and taking a left. Okay, so not very safe. What is your projected timeline now? Because it was 13 months, and it was 16 months, and it was 18 months. So are we talking another summer before this was done, and can that tree come down next summer? So,
Yeah, no, that's a great question. It's about, thank you. Alan's here. He can give a much more accurate answer.
okay, all right. Sorry.
Alan is part of our ordinance
Committee.
project manager team.
How you doing? Alan Crowley.
Great.
I'm a construction site manager for Vertex, who's the OPM that's been
Great.
contracted by the town of Milton. I think it's important to remember that this is a town of Milton project. So when we're talking about money, it's transferring Milton money to Milton money. It's, the reason the tree needs to should come down sooner rather than later is we're trying to get all of our street work, all of our tie-ins, power, sewer, water, all of that done before St. Agatha's comes back to school. So we're trying to get that done as soon as possible to mitigate the traffic congestion and the possible issues. So that's why we're trying to do that. We're trying to get this done as fast as possible. Just a couple points that were brought up earlier. Station 7,000 square feet, plus or minus. We have approximately 13 new trees going in on site as part of the landscaping plan.
What size?
I'm not sure off the top of my head, but I know it's about 13.
13 trees.
And if it's easier for us to just give you guys trees, like we have to purchase them anyway, so if you want to stop by and take a couple rather than, we can certainly work something out.
All right. So we have a motion on the table. We don't have or did you want to add something?
Well, it sounds like we don't want to put the cobblestone as part of the 2,000. So I have to go back and amend that to just be for the tree, it sounds like. All right. So I will make a motion
Just a minute, Cheryl, if we do that, then what's our leverage to make sure that cobblestone gets done?
It would be separate.
We make a separate,
No,
there's
I
nothing
think
coming
this,
before us.
I think the approval is still in there for that, but I said that those were going to be paid for by that 2,000.
Oh, that's the only thing you're correcting?
Yeah, that's the only thing I'm correcting.
Because a tree, I mean, like,
Give me $2,000, I'll plant it.
I plant,
So you think my motion's good the way it is?
yeah,
Okay,
$2,000 is only going to get you a 2.5 to 3 inch caliper tree at the most, and it'll probably be 8 to 10 feet. So the height of the building is probably at least 35 feet. So an 8 to 10 foot tree, and this is my issue all along, is they're not big enough. The trees that are being planted by, and it doesn't matter if it's the town of Milton. I mean, I'm frustrated with the town of Milton. They're planting stupid little 6-foot crab apples that are doing nothing on sidewalks. So I would rather see larger size trees. I would rather see fewer trees, but more mature, and you have the equipment there, and you can, like, my guys plant 15-foot trees all day long by hand, so I don't know what the pushback is, really.
I'm completely empathize with your frustration. I serve on the planning board and the school committee in my town.
What town is that?
I'm a recovering past, like,
Wow. What town?
You're empathetic.
Middleborough. We actually filed an amicus brief. for
Yeah.
that.
I know, we
Love you
like
guys.
Middleborough.
Love you guys.
I know a guy who advocated for that.
Good.
All right, so then I'm going to go back and change my motion, all
Yeah,
right?
I think it's separating them out.
Okay, so we'll make a motion to approve the scenic road tree removal application for the East Milton Fire Station project with the condition that $2,000 be contributed to the cooperative tree planting account per the recommendation of the tree warden, and that the project include a cobblestone apron at the perimeter of the island that's being removed unless that particular condition is not recommended by the Director of the Department of Public Works.
Nailed it. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you, thank you.
Good. Thank you, neighbors, for coming.
I'll leave my contact info if anybody ever wants a tour of the
Oh, good.
building on the site or anything like
Yeah.
that. Please give me a call, and we'll make it happen.
We appreciate
Thank you.
You've been doing good work, great work. So, thank you.
Thank you,
Okay.
Brian.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Wow. All right, well, then, and then moving to number 5 on the agenda is A&R approval for 120 Highland Street. We can, thanks, thank you. Would like to join us?
Hi, everyone.
Hey there.
120 Highland Street.
Great, thanks, welcome.
So,
You'd like to just sort of give a,
okay, so I've lived
Background.
at 120 Highland Street with my wife and my kids for approximately 20 years. When my wife and I both grew up in Milton. We lived in Quincy for a few years when we got married. As soon as we could, we got back to Milton. And would like to subdivide the lot, either for family or for someone else. But when we bought the lot in the first place, what we noticed is that it was C zoning and that it was legal to do 2 lots there. So that's why we asked for an approval not required.
So my question is, the home becomes no longer on it doesn't conform to setbacks for one lot or another because it's on 2 parcels now. So I see on this
Right,
map
we'd
that-
be tearing down the house to make it 2 parcels. Yeah,
Okay.
it says on the plan the house would be,
Okay, does it say that on the application?
It does.
So it has to be raised.
Yeah. Does it say it on the Mylar or on the?
Existing dwelling.
yes.
Okay, sorry, I missed that.
the house
Sorry
to be
about that.
raised, I think it refers to.
Right along the middle property line.
Okay, sorry. Oh, all right there in the center, thank you.
No worries.
I looked at it online, but, all right, I missed it, sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, otherwise, you're right, I mean, it meets the requirements for C zoning, the way I see it, yeah. So, it was just a question of the
And
existing
Cheyenne did
house.
do a checklist
Yep.
that she went through, and with a new building commissioner, too, so.
Cheyenne, by the way, was lovely. She'll be missed.
I know.
I met her for the
Yes.
first time just this past week.
Yeah.
And I called her too, but no worries.
But yeah,
Yeah.
and she went through
I
the
wish her luck.
new building commissioner, and it met all the requirements.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, that was my only question, so I don't think we really, otherwise, we can just move forward, right? But,
Yeah.
so we will have to endorse it since there's no one to authorize to endorse it,
Yeah, let's do it.
right?
So I would take a motion to endorse the,
I'll make a motion to approve the approval not required for 120 Highland Street.
there a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you,
Very
everybody.
much.
Thank
Do we
you.
need a special pen for that?
We need a, yeah, we can sign it at
Do that at the end. We'll do
do
that
that
at
at the end.
Okay.
the end. Unless, do you need it tonight?
No, I
you're
don't
gonna
need
have
it
to-
tonight.
Okay.
When I spoke to Cheyenne at the time, just a few days ago, she said that just come back, assuming the plan was going to be signed, just come back and pick it up in a couple of days. 'Cause like I said, I don't need it today, tonight, tomorrow,
Right.
whatever. So
Okay.
as long as I know it's going, say, upstairs to the
It'll be
engineering
upstairs,
department.
and Julia will have it, yeah.
Sure,
We'll
so,
leave it on the filing cabinet right when you get into the planning department.
no worries. These are the dog days of summer. I know you guys.
Yep, we'll do it
are
tonight.
Hopefully looking forward to
Yeah, Sean's
meeting
not
off.
here tonight, but Sean would be the only one who would need
well,
to sign.
thank you very much. And that's fine, easy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Would he sign it even though he didn't vote on it?
If he didn't
doesn't
Oh,
vote.
he didn't
The
vote,
four
so
of
he
us
can't,
just
yeah,
sign
so
it, yeah.
the four of us will sign it, it'll be up there
Thank you.
first thing tomorrow. Okay. So the last item on the agenda, discussion of, for fall and spring town meetings. I recognize that because of the way the June 16th town meeting, we have had such a short window of time. So I don't want this board to feel any pressure to do anything, but I feel that the sign bylaw, I went through with Cheyenne again because there were little things that I picked up. A couple of few things that we need to just go over that I just was thinking about that we can discuss tonight. But I have sent it to John Zikowitz for the chair of the sign review committee, who's been on the committee from the very start, and for him to review. I also would like to send it to the new building commissioner and Walter White, who's had experience in the town. And, I don't know if Kathleen will probably weigh in, but we would still have, obviously, our public hearings on this. But at least we could get a draft to the warrant committee so they could start taking a look.
I started to look at signs as I've been out and about, and I do think it's worth, maybe the sign review committee already has some inventory of what they have seen, and around sizes and types, because I don't want us to, impose something that makes all of these signs no longer, conform, and they're pre-existing, so they would be allowed, but what it means is we're not, it's like the zoning that was imposed and nothing meets it in like the residence C. There's very few that really meet it, or in residence B even, there's so many that don't. So I just would not want us to do that. But that's just one piece of the larger overall effort of the bylaw. So I still think it could go forward, as long as we can adjust those sizes based on, and whatever other things the sign review committee comes back with. But, I just mentioned that one sign at our last meeting, that 16 feet by 16 feet,
Yeah.
and that, while they say it faces the highway, it faces East Milton too.
Right.
And so, I was looking at that as I was on Granite Ave the other day, and where that
And that
gas
was one of the
station
things
is.
I wanted to talk
Yeah.
about because it wouldn't be consistent with
No,
what's in here.
so, I understand needing different size signs for different kinds of road conditions, and I saw that you put 2 granite in, but I think it might need
I
to be
think we
something.
need to take all that out, actually.
I think we need something to think about the kinds of signs versus the roadways, because then it's, when it's a pedestrian street and a small storefront, it's a one-size sign. If it's, something like a gas station or something else, that doesn't make any sense, that size sign.
Right.
So
that does get addressed in here a little bit, but there's some things that and if Julia, if you want to pull it up, I can just run through, because there was a revised version, then I went through it and I talked to Cheyenne about a couple of things that which I agree with, that maybe don't make sense, that we can.
I'm
that
looking
what-
at the Milano version. Is that the
the
most
one?
recent?
the one that
And-
came today?
I'm
it
not
was
saying we
one
have
that
to, that's
came
just the one that I
today.
pulled up.
Is that at 250 that came?
Yeah, and it's very similar to that. There's just a few
Yeah.
tweaks, and I can go through sort of what those were. There wasn't anything in the definitions section. It was, the first thing I took a look at was
Well, can I go back to the definitions real quick?
Oh, sure, yeah.
When it
If you,
says
and if
abandoned,
anybody has comments, so.
like, it says, sign, comma, abandoned. Any sign associated with use which has ceased operations for 60 or more days. Is that when the when the business closes for 60 days? That's what starts that 60-day period?
Yeah, if like a building shut, yeah, it was,
Like if you close your business?
yes, and that business is no longer there.
Yeah. So I'm thinking like, what if the landlord's trying to lease the space up and doesn't get a tenant for a year? Does he lose his sort of sign privilege, or?
No, you just wouldn't want it to say,
Jim's Auto Repair or something? It just
yeah, and
goes-
if
like it
no,
goes
they're no
blank?
longer there. I think it's to, and it's sort of like not advertising products that you don't, that you no longer sell. Not that we have those in the windows, but
Okay.
if a building, I'm trying to think of a business that closed down.
Or what if, I was thinking like, what if a business still remained, but the owner changed, but it took longer than 60 days? Like maybe you closed down and, still operating under the same name, but it's a different owner?
I mean, just does
That
it,
wouldn't
does
change,
it,
that wouldn't change
That
it.
wouldn't
I don't
change,
think,
okay.
that wouldn't change.
I just don't want to force the business
door-
to
if this-
go through this all over again and reapply for a sign if it's just like
If it's the same company, if it's the same business title,
or
I
if
think
it's,
this is
if
for a
it's a
different
business
title.
use a property that is vacant for 6 months because the guy can't find a tenant, or I'm just wondering, I'm just afraid we're triggering a whole bunch of red tape for business
Yeah,
owners.
operations. 60 days. Exhibits.
But, yeah, I guess the question is, do you want a new business owner to become familiar with all of our rules and regulations?
Well, they're going to have to.
And they
in
would,
60
right,
days.
for 60
Like,
days.
Is it, if I'm starting a new business, the last
It's
thing I
more,
want.
sounds like more of a deterrent for just letting it fall apart and not.
Okay, if
not
it's just
having the
that.
owner there.
Yeah.
It says broken panels, rust, rot.
Yeah, but it's an and/or.
So, let me just
Yeah.
look at something again here. Can we just like make a note? Because I'm looking now, it's no longer, is it really section 10? Because it's like, I'm looking at chapter, I pulled from the E code. We had, isn't it chapter 275-3.3 or something where there's signage? This is going to be a new, completely
Yeah.
new? Does it, well, we're going to need to say, you're going to repeal some sections and you're going to replace them with some section. So we're going to need that at the front of this somewhere, and that'll need
And
to be
Nick Milano's
tricked.
working on that right now.
Okay.
Nick is working on that. So I'll mark that for,
So this, just for us to keep track of, I think,
Yeah.
because that, it's,
I
signs
can-
are like in a couple of places in the
Yeah.
bylaw.
I can go back in and make my edits to this if you want. I just didn't think it was appropriate, but, for like the next meeting or something. Or we have to get this done soon, right?
well, no, by the 7th, you could go in and make them for the 7th. And we could spend more time on the 7th on this, and just, we could skim through it quickly tonight and then.
Okay, if I become too
But I
cumbersome,
can
I'll
get
do that.
Nick, yeah, and I can get Nick's comments on that.
If you want to go through and discuss some of the, Jim, depending
knock
on.
them
Yeah.
off. Okay.
I'm okay with that, and we can look at the
Same.
amendment later, like,
All right.
I think we did
Same.
that last time, we talked about some issues, and
And we can ask a question about the abandoned.
Beautiful, okay. All right.
Okay. Anything else under definitions? One.
sorry, getting back to that document here. Where'd it go?
So under, section 3B3,
What page are you on?
it doesn't have a number,
Pages.
sorry.
3,
Is that beyond intent and purpose?
Yeah, so so flip it over. the last dot, double I,
Oh, I caught that, good.
is the same as the double I underneath it.
So that is so funny. That's
Intent-
what I,
Intent is repeated, yeah.
Yeah.
I said that's what when Cheyenne sent it me in her copy, and then she printed out a copy for me today, and it didn't have that.
Because I printed out the one from the other day, July 22nd.
Yeah, I think maybe
and the one from 250.
Because it was so funny, because
3 o'clock email, and it was in both.
So it was funny, because look. Intent, there's only one.
Yeah.
So,
That's weird.
Isn't that strange? Because I thought, because that was one of the things I was going to point out with Cheyenne too.
Yeah, good, as long as we catch it.
okay.
So the one you got should have only one. The intent is just written once. Dot two. Yep, so yeah, and if you go down to number 2, A2, so you can see it on here. See, it's only there.
Back up.
Yeah, go up.
Back
Where
up.
it's like the, not that 2, the above that,
The little,
yeah, that, there. It is the intent of this article to protect property values.
so it's repeated right there.
Oh, yeah, oh, it is, so yeah, that is on there too.
Weird.
Yes, so we need to take out, see where the bullet is?
Oh, yeah.
That's what, I thought I saw it, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we need to delete that.
This whole bullet?
Yeah, that whole bullet. Perfect.
Nice.
There, it was there, okay. I wasn't losing my mind. Okay. Anything else on this page? So under existing signs, I know under number 4, we had the non-conforming protected signs, and we didn't have a definition for protected. I don't think we even need the word protected. I think we could either have, because it's existing signs, so we could either say in 3 and 4, pre-existing non-conforming signs, or just non-conforming signs. I don't think we even need the word protected. We could have pre-existing. It's just the type of signs. What do you think of that?
I didn't have a problem with that one, to be honest with you guys, but I just thought it was fine the way it is.
Under existing signs.
Number 4.
Under
signs
existing.
A4.
So by
Or
definition, it's,
protected. I just thought those were, I kind of got both of those, 3 and 4.
you understood because
I
they're
did.
pre-existing.
Yeah. Because I took it as
Okay.
protected signs are signs which fully comply with this bylaw prior to the amendments approved by
Right.
October 25th town meeting.
So it's number 4.
Number 4.
It's the non-conforming protected sign. So it's that protected, and I guess it's, what, if it's a non-conforming sign, does it matter whether it's protected or not? I guess, what's the distinction? It's like, that's what we were questioning, I think, right? The distinction between
Yeah.
3 and 4, like, what's the distinction? The distinction is it's protected, but we don't really know what that means.
I mean, that could be protected by the Dover Amendment or protected,
Well, it's pre-existing, it's protected because it was a pre-existing.
So,
It
I
fully
was
complied.
thinking about protected being, for instance, and maybe it's not applicable, but the Adopt an Island program. So I asked Cheyenne and she reached out to Marina. So I was wondering if our signs on our adopted islands would somehow be impacted by our sign review. And Marina said that she would like to keep, she would like to maintain authority over the islands, to maintain it.
Which makes sense.
And so it does make sense. But also if you go around town, everybody has a different
Yeah.
sign.
A different level
And-
of
Yeah, and
permanence.
correct,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. So I wasn't sure if that protected would somehow be like the Adopt an Island sign. And maybe it's another conversation outside of this, but should there be some type of,
So maybe it should be called exempt instead of protected, because I'm looking at number 8 says exempt signs and prohibited signs. And I'm sorry, I don't really know what page this is. Let's see. I think I'm scrolling here. It's not telling me the page. Why not? Page, yeah, so it's on page 2, starting on bottom of page 2. Julia. Well, at least it's saying to me it's on page 2, but it must be after the definitions.
Yeah, it's a little bit further.
Must be more than page 2 then.
Process.
Sorry, it's not page 2.
no, section 8's like, I just wasn't sure where.
If somebody
that
has,
went.
I don't have a hard copy with me, but if you can find where it says number 8,
it's
exempt
number-
signs and prohibited signs.
It's under 8.
8A. Those are,
Yeah, 8A is exempt signs.
Yeah,
So
okay.
that's a protected sign, I guess, but is that the same, or maybe it's not a protected sign, because this doesn't even, none of these fall under any jurisdiction of this at all, right?
So when I owned, we're all familiar with Bent's, right? When I owned Bent's, it was a single user space. It had this, it still has this giant sign that says Bent's.
Right.
I assume that that is a non-conforming protected sign.
Yeah.
That's what I think, that's
Why
an
is it
example.
protected, though?
Well, because just because we passed this article doesn't mean you can come to me and say, hey, Bent's owner, take that sign down.
Right.
It's protected because it's always been there. But if I, for some reason, change ownership or something happens where the Bent's goes out of business, the next owner would never get approval for that sign.
But when I think of protected, it means, that to me connotates that the next owner gets to keep that sign.
Oh, I take it as the
See,
existing.
that's what I'm saying, it's not clear, I don't think it's clear in here, Jim, because you view it one way and I view it another way.
That's why I
That-
think taking
it
it
needs to
out,
be clear.
protected. I think it's just non-conforming.
Okay.
It's just a type of sign. It's a non-conforming sign that either still would go forward and meet the criteria or would not meet the criteria.
So one of the things I think that's come up over the years is that there was a sign on one of the buildings on Granite Avenue, East Milton Square, and every time there's been an effort to kind of change the type of sign that can go there as the businesses have changed, the owner or applicant, whomever, has said, no, it's protected. I had this kind of thing before and I can have it now. And I think that's the kind of thing we don't want to continue, is that, that it just forever, so you can never, ever change that kind of sign, no matter how many times it changes over. That doesn't, I think that's kind of one of the reasons that people thought that the bylaw needed to be changed, right, Meredith?
Yep, and so they go before and every time they apply, they apply to the sign review committee, the sign review committee denies it, and then
they appeal it, and then there's no grounds to win on appeal.
So has the ownership of the building changed? Mm-hmm. So it has
over
changed.
time, yeah.
Yeah, so
and the
over time.
businesses multiple times.
Yeah, so I understand the businesses have changed. Right. So I would think that if the owner of the building remained the same, even if the business changed, then that would be protected. But once a new owner comes in, should they have to go through this process? To Jim's point, you're saying no, but now we're
Well, if it's a
saying-
new owner, yeah, if it's a tenant in the existing space.
See, in my view, that building's being used as a billboard for the highway, kind of.
Yes. Mhm.
And not being called that. And so, and that's what this other sign application that's coming in is kind of, it's a 16 by 16 sign, it's not something for somebody to find their way if they're trying to find the business, right?
Yeah.
It's not. So that's the kind of thing I think we need to have that lens. Because for East Milton, that's a big deal, I think,
Yeah.
that kind of
Yeah.
signage.
No,
gateway to Milton.
Yeah, and I don't think it applies as much elsewhere. Maybe it would. I just can't think of another place it applies right now.
I don't know the wording for that, but that might be one for town council. Because I agree with what you're saying. I just don't know how to put it on paper.
So I think if we take on 4, just take out the word protected. That
But I
avoids
think-
confusion.
I think the question that, though, is maybe having
yeah.
a conversation with town council about what we just spoke about, and make sure that somehow we can do it, and that if we
Right.
can, that it's in here somehow.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Because I understand if it's the same owner and he's just changing tenants, he had made the initial investment of the sign, and so he should be able to keep the sign. But if the actual owner of the building changed,
Because
And the
we-
sign changes.
and then the sign changes, I don't know why they would be able to continue with that sign.
giant illuminated sign that
Yeah.
we don't want.
Well, if you think about it, why have the bylaw then? Because then every business, any building that's in the business, that has a business in it, has signage. So it's like, if none of them are going to have to apply or comply with this bylaw ever, then you're only talking about a new building
handful.
or a new business somewhere, and there's how many of those are there going to be? You know, it's going to leave a whole vast number of them that don't comply. That's where you have to have something, yeah. If you have a business that's operational, it's ongoing, they don't have to comply. But when that changes, it should have to comply. And then eventually, you're going to have everything that's complying
Yeah.
when they turn over.
The only problem there is that if I'm a landlord and I have a sign on my building and I'm leasing space to a new tenant, it's kind of understood that they get that sign. So I guess as the landlord, I would have to say, you know what, you don't get that sign. You have to go before the sign review committee and apply for a new sign, and you're going to get one way smaller. So it could actually detract
Not if
from
they're
the
not
value.
changing the sign. It's if the sign changes.
So it doesn't relate to the tenant.
No, it's in here, like, where is
I
that?
thought it was a change
If
of
it's a new business, though, but you're saying if it's
one new
the
business in an
same-
existing space with an existing sign already attached to the building that doesn't
Like-
conform.
How would that not change when the new business came in, the sign?
It says here, removal
The
of
Bent's
sign.
example, right?
Yeah.
So I decide
buy
not
Bent's.
to. I decide not to run Bent's anymore, but I want to rent it up to a new operator who calls it Joe's.
So that's not changing the sign. Oh, he's calling it Joe's now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the sign
Joe's
is still
could be-
there. It's a non-conforming
Yeah.
sign. It's a trademark. When you drive by that building, that's what draws you in.
So this, the way this says it in section 4, which are enlarged, reworded, redesigned, replaced, or altered in any way, including repainting in a different color or relettering, shall comply immediately with all provisions of this bylaw. And provided further that any such sign which has deteriorated to such an extent that the cost of restoration would exceed 35% of the replacement value of the sign at the time of replacement shall not be repaired or rebuilt except to conform to the requirements of this bylaw. That's what I was getting at, is that,
Yeah.
now, you know, I guess, I would call Bent more of a historic sign, and, you know, and I don't know if we have anything in here that addresses that kind of a sign.
Yeah, but it's not. It's not on the historic register, and it's not a historic landmark.
It's on the National Register.
I don't think it is. 'Cause
The
I
whole
was-
building, the whole building?
The whole
Yeah.
building's on the National Register. There was a plaque out front.
I don't. Yeah, I remember when I was going to remodel it. That was not an issue.
No, you don't have, it doesn't control what you can do with the building, but it still is on the National Register. But it doesn't
Okay,
keep
yeah.
you from,
Doing anything,
Changing
like changing a
things,
sign
yeah.
or anything. Okay, so it's on the historic register, but
It's not the same
It
as
wouldn't.
like historic district.
yeah, it's not a local
Histo-
historic
like a
district.
historic landmark, I think, is the one you want to really protect the building. Mm-hmm. Right,
That's
instead
right.
of the historic register. There's one's more strict than the other. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, I do think it's a good question, though, Jim, in terms of, I think of that as a historic sign. Like, I was a co-owner of a building on A Street in Fort Point Channel, and we had a sign it was called the Barlow's, you know, I forget the name, whatever, Barlow's building, but then the businesses had their own sign. So the Barlow's was like identifier of the historic building.
Yes.
And then the businesses had signs. So I kind of view it that way, where you're kind of,
Yeah.
it's an homage to the history of the building. That kind of signage being different, because it's
Right.
not advertising a business, right? Because this is like talking about advertising businesses. So maybe we might need to look at the
Yeah.
language to see if it's clear
Yeah,
enough.
look at
I just want to be
historic
careful that we're not
sign, right.
forcing business owners to take their signs down unnecessarily, I guess.
You don't have to take that down.
Yeah, that's like a name of, a building name sign versus
Right.
versus a business sign.
Right.
Right, because Bent's is the building. Currently, there's no business in there named
That's
Bent's.
because it's sold, but my argument is that if I still own Bent's and I was renting it to somebody else, does this make...
No, because nobody was operating a business as Bent's.
I was.
You were.
Yeah, but when you sold.
When you sold it, they're not.
Right, and now the sign is no longer associated with that building, but it says Bent's, right?
It's no longer associated with the business.
With
Sorry, the business.
Correct.
Yeah. So it could just stay there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
according to this.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the Bent's building. I mean, I still call it Bent's.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't read it that way, but
Yeah.
it's okay. It's all good. Yeah, let's keep
And
push
we'll have
forward.
this reviewed by town,
Yeah.
town council too. Okay, removal of existing signs, abandonment, sign permits. I had just added under sign permits B, there were a couple of periods after, like 1, 5, 6, or 6 had one actually, but just a couple of periods there. Anyone else have anything there? Processing time.
Yeah, so I just, I just had a question about the town shall process sign permit applications within 30 days. Is that enough time? I mean, I know, we all want
sign
things
review?
to, yeah, is that enough time for them?
I'm
30
running this
days is
by,
fast.
it is, I'm running this by John Zikowitz, who's
Yeah.
the chair, to see if that's enough time, if it should be 45 days.
Because it says if they, like, what if they don't meet? What if they don't have a quorum?
And sometimes they do have to continue the public hearing on things. So I'll ask John
Yeah,
about
because
that.
it says shall process, so is that taking a vote, or is it just, but if they
Yeah,
don't have a
because-
quorum, how can they,
Yeah, so this actually the last sentence. If the advisory recommendation of the sign review committee is not received within 30 days.
yeah.
So they might have to call a meeting just depending upon the timing of an application, to your point. If they, I don't know if they meet monthly or if they call it on as needed, but it's worth asking about that for sure.
Yeah, okay, great. And then, to jump in if anybody else has something before, but under design review, I caught under B, the sign review
Can
committee.
you just, I'm sorry,
Oh, sure,
before
yeah.
you go back, right above the processing time permit issuance for that number 4, that had the red line.
Oh, yes,
there.
that, we made that
Yeah,
change.
so I was thinking,
Yeah, as well as visualization.
as well as visualization or 3D rendering, because the visualization could be like a photograph that they kind of put the sign on, and that's different from a rendering. Well, some people might think of them as exactly the same thing. So I guess you could say just say a 3D visualization or 3D rendering. I don't know if you need like visualization of 3D rendering, is this clear? You know what I mean?
Yep, as 3D
So,
visualization or 3D rendering.
Yeah.
And there would be 3D in front of visualization. And another 3D there. Yeah.
Oh, another one here?
Yes, both. Visualization or 3D rendering, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
And again, just from a time under expiration date, if the sign will become null and void if it has not been installed and completed within 6 months. You know, if it's a new business and they get delayed in their build out, or is that, can they apply for an extension, or?
It says you
Oh,
can.
you apply for
190, yeah.
190-day extension, yep, so, okay, just, is that enough time,
Yeah.
was really my,
I'll ask that.
question.
Did we get through prohibited signs yet? I'm sorry, I lost my place.
Not yet.
Okay, good.
Penalties, design review. Under B, sign review committee, this sign review committee shall be appointed. That's actually by the select board who
Yeah.
appoints it, so
Yeah.
I hadn't caught that earlier. Did that get, oh, she didn't change that, okay, select board. Great. Annual basis. Did she, oh, you know what, she didn't go, it's funny. Above sign review required, well, no, sorry, right there, sign review committee, there should be a period after committee. No, not, a line above that, sorry. And actually, did she, can you scroll, sorry, just because I want to make sure she got those, or those changes saved. Under sign permits, back up under B, number 1 didn't have a period at the end. Sorry.
It's there. It's in
It
mine.
is, okay, under,
Came out
under
to-
sign, under 5B. Yes, okay, she did put a period there. A period after number 5. Is there a period there? Okay. And then height of sign, there's a period there. Okay, great. I just want to make sure. Okay. So then, under process, down under 6C.
Can we go back to B for
Yep.
a sec?
Yep.
Do you think it makes sense to mandate architect, urban designer, or planner?
Which one?
I'm sorry.
The committee?
6B, the sign review committee, the makeup of the sign review committee.
It's always the director of planning community development. There
there's-
usually is an architect.
Right, who else were you thinking,
Yeah,
Jim? What would be another,
Oh, I don't know, just anyone. I mean, we already have a planner because we have the town planner.
urban design.
Well, these signs are mostly going on buildings, and the drawings that are prepared by architects, it,
a graphic designer?
I mean, you could have a graphic designer, but I do think,
Or like,
And it can be residents of the town, so it can be just a regular resident too.
it
Yeah.
says,
All it's
yeah,
saying
it
is that
says
one
Resident that
member.
has to
It
be
just
an
says one
architect,
member.
urban designer, or planner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know, I just think it's limiting. I mean, I appreciate the value of the architect, urban designer, or planner, that's for sure.
yeah.
But,
Yeah,
I don't
because
know.
right now there's a graphic artist, there's 2 architects on the, and it's good because they have an understanding of the language and
All right.
it's like an architect, the
to scale,
architect's, yeah,
Okay.
dimensions that they're
Technology of
looking at
it.
in the technology, which has really changed quite a bit.
Okay. I'm all right then.
Right, so C, under that process, number 1, I think we meant to have it be the last line in that I, sign review committee and/or ZBA. So it would be,
so
Include all
we should talk
information.
with the select board about changing from them to ZBA, so that this isn't just sprung upon them.
yeah, oh, for sure, this has to be,
Yeah.
reviewed.
So,
This is taking off, from their plate, having to,
Which I would think that they would be on board, but would ZBA want to take it on?
I just think we need to speak
because
to
it's
Kathleen.
special permits.
I think we
Yeah.
need to speak to Kathleen and,
Yeah, yeah,
and to the select
Yeah.
board, either via Nick or via the chair,
right.
just to see that they're,
They're both committees are comfortable.
yeah.
Yeah, because, yeah.
And so then,
Because right now, the select board has just been handling the appeals. So that's sort of where we're putting ZBA in.
I think it belongs there, I just think
Sure,
we just need to
absolutely.
do the outreach.
Yeah, I agree.
and then in two, at the next meeting of the committee, not less than 14 days after the receipt. Again, is that, if it goes to ZBA or sign review, is that enough
Sorry,
time?
where are you looking at that?
Oh, process.
Process 2.
Oh, sorry.
Process 2.
Oh, yeah. Is that enough time? That's a John question.
14 days is like,
How often does the sign review committee meet? Is that monthly, or is it just as needed?
It's sort of as needed, I think they've been meeting, but
But 14 days is not much time.
not enough time.
I agree.
Doesn't
at all.
clarify
Agree.
whether
Yeah.
it's calendar days or business days either, so.
Yeah, so John
Maybe it does somewhere
wasn't
else,
able to
but-
make his comments for tonight, but he said I'll be able to look it over the weekend.
Before our next meeting
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
If he has anything that in advance that we can
Yeah,
review in advance, that would be
I'll
helpful.
send it over, yeah.
I just get nervous about putting times on other people.
That aren't realistic,
Yeah.
So number 4, I thought this should be, this was sort of vague. Failure of the sign review committee to make a recommendation within 30 days from the date of the submission of application materials to the chairman. And I talked to Cheyenne about this, because what chairman of who? And I thought that should be director of planning.
So again, this is like 30 days again. All of these dates, all of these timeframes should be something that John
Yeah.
from the committee weighs in on.
Yeah.
Just have him look at every one of these timeframes.
Maybe it's 60 days, maybe it's 14,
I
yeah.
would think that term chairman refers to the chairman of the sign review committee, because is that who they're?
But it's the chairman of the sign review committee is part of the sign review committee.
Yeah.
It's the application goes to the building department.
And then from
So
the
this
building
would-
department, it goes to the sign review.
It doesn't go to the planning department, does it?
No, but then what happens is the sign review committee makes their decision. They would let Tim know, and Tim would let the building department know. So it sort of followed through. So then the next line I have, the director of planning shall forward such recommendation in writing to the applicant and the building commissioner.
Well, I just happened to be in the building department.
Planning department?
No,
Building
building department on Monday. And Cheyenne came in with an applicant and said, oh, these guys are looking for information on their sign. And the application goes to the building department. So she had to walk them over to the
Right.
building. So,
So it starts with the building department.
Yeah.
And in here, in the process, they have to make a number of copies of the application, and then that goes to the sign review committee. And the sign review committee votes, is my understanding with Cheyenne. The sign committee votes, and the director of planning sits in on, oversees that committee. So then he lets, whatever the decision lets the building commissioner know. And then you can issue the sign
And then
permit.
if the decision is appealed, then right now it goes to the select board.
Yeah.
Correct,
But this would send it to the ZBA.
correct.
so that applicant was just confused as to which department he was supposed to go to.
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to solve, is when a business owner
Yeah, this is
reads this, then they know the exact department
to go to,
Yeah,
exactly. And all the materials that they need,
Yeah.
similar to our site plan review.
yeah.
So again, this all will be run through, John and,
So did you want to change chairman to planning director?
Director of Planning. Yeah, why don't we put that in, and then I'll,
Or could we put director of planning or his assistant or something?
yeah,
just
or-
to
It says
not-
planning
The
department.
But planning department, I'm
planning
sorry, I did
department.
talk to Cheyenne about that. It should be planning
Planning
department,
department.
because then it could be anybody from.
Yes.
Yeah.
It could be Cheyenne, it could be Julia, whoever's.
whoever's sitting in the chair.
And the next line down, the same thing, or
Yeah.
number 5, the chairman is replaced
The
with the planning department.
shall- Yeah. Perfect. Okay. All right. Then, under criteria for review, number 2, the sign guidelines handbook to be updated from time to time. It seems like that should be the planning department, because to make sure that
I
it's
had that too.
consistent.
Yeah, actually, I had that. Yeah.
Because you want to make sure and that's been the problem, is the handbook didn't match up with what our zoning said. So the sign review committee was denying things, and they would get appealed because it didn't agree with the zoning. So that's,
And the only reason I was thinking about the planning board was because I feel like the planning board is the board where things get discussed, as evidenced, earlier tonight, where the select board, I don't know, they don't seem to allow for back and forth discussion. So I just feel like this forum is better for if there's a change and we want to
Right.
hear.
and handling it through we can say planning department.
Yes,
So that
yes, yeah.
that would include us, but.
Does it include us, though? I
Well,
think they're two separate
it could be
entities.
it really
This
should be
planning
the,
department.
I think the director should be part of his job doing this, but with input from our board. And we could say that.
You could say,
Nowhere are we mentioned in this.
well, you could say in consultation with the planning board,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
because it doesn't have to be
Yeah.
approved necessarily by
Right.
us, but in consultation, right?
Because I read this and I didn't see planning board anywhere.
Yeah,
So we're,
Yeah.
we're writing something for everyone else.
No, we're just giving up authority, if that
we
means
don't-
anything to
yeah,
us.
we don't
It doesn't mean
have
a
it
lot to
now.
me, but, if you guys are adamant about signs, we have no say in this, just for the record.
Well, if it's a site plan approval, we can weigh in on that.
Yep.
But
Yep.
if there's no site plan, if it's just somebody applying for a new sign, then we don't have any jurisdiction. It goes just to the sign review committee
Okay,
currently.
as long as we understand that, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that by being able to work with the planning department to update the guidelines, and by setting the zoning, we do establish a role, we're just not in a role to review the actual applications, which is consistent with what it's been, but what we haven't had is consistency in the zoning and the guidelines, and therefore it's made it, more signs go to appeal than probably should. So it's really just a cleaning up of the process, because the signage has come in under the zoning bylaw. But I don't think we would want to propose a change in the way that the signs are, the process that the signs are reviewed by the sign review committee, and then appeal goes to, where all appeal, building related appeals go to the ZBA. That just, and maybe Kathleen will have a different view on that, but when she
It
gets back
sounded
from
like
her
she
trip-
agreed
Yeah.
when she was listening in there, because we
Yeah.
were like, we think it should go to the ZBA, so it should be, we should ask her
Okay.
to go through this too. So the next,
So that criteria looks like it has some language options. So consideration of how the proposed sign relates to design guidelines for those signs located in overlay districts for which there exist design guidelines.
oh, but just before we get to, did we put, sorry. Yes, so that, these were the 3 different versions we had on, and I think the last one maybe makes the most sense. You might have said this, Cheryl, but.
Yeah, that's one I was reading, yeah.
Design guidelines for those signs located in overlay districts for which there exist design guidelines.
I think we could just say districts, and you don't have to say overlay. It would just keep it for, in the event that, it's kind of an interesting thing. We have overlay districts with guidelines, but the business district doesn't have the guidelines, I mean, so I think just saying districts,
So do we agree we can take out the
yes, the first two parts.
the first two parts? Yeah, so the bullet would begin with design guidelines, the last line.
Just the one highlighted.
And then
we
get
take
rid
out
of the
the-
word
Take all
overlay.
this out?
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
Perfect.
okay. And then there was, yeah, nothing else that I had on that page. Did anybody else have anything on that page? Recommendations, I thought that was good. Appeal and special permits. We had changed those to, a couple of those to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Yeah. Special permit granting authority, ZBA.
I just, sorry, on the, back to the
Yeah.
D3, back to D3 for a second. The context of the building facade, I just think context could be the design of the building facade. Like, what is context of this facade? Context, I
Yeah.
think of as being like other buildings in the vicinity. So the context of the facade, I think it'd be a little clearer to change that
The
word.
design of the building facade, yeah. Does that sound a little more clear?
Thanks.
Okay. Then I didn't have anything else through the appeal and special permits. Circumstances in which a special permit may be sought. Required findings. Design review. And then number 8, Jim, I know you wanted to talk about
Exempt signs.
Exempt signs, yeah.
Oh, it was just, I didn't see audible signs in here. Signs that make noise.
Under prohibited or exempt?
Oh, I'm sorry,
That's when we get to the,
prohibited.
Exempt, oh, sorry.
Not exempt, prohibited, I'm
so,
sorry. Just as long as we don't approve audible signs, I guess is my thing, wherever that fits in.
okay, that's a good,
Yeah.
yeah.
So under exempt,
Oh, there's something about.
Do we have
political,
anything-
but I
do
don't
we,
understand.
under 3, address signs of which it does not exceed 8 inches? I kind of feel like there's a trend in having big address signs.
Are they bigger than 8 inches?
Yeah, so I don't know. I just, again, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if anything is bigger than 8, but if it's an address sign on the,
So then if it's bigger, it's not exempt, it just has to go for approval, right? Because this is
that's-
exempt.
yeah. So is our building inspector driving around town looking for address signs that are over 8 inches?
Well, like the headquarters behind us has a big HQ on it,
Yes,
right?
yes. uh-huh.
But that's kind of, in some ways, is it a work of art?
Yeah, I'm not saying,
Right,
like,
or is it-
because I do like I mean,
it's
as you get
exempt because
older,
it's a-
as you get older, it's nice having larger,
There it is.
Right?
so I'm not having an opinion necessarily, but like, where did 8 inches come from, I guess, is the question.
Probably from some review of other bylaws.
Yeah, I think he looked at a bunch of towns. And then flags, we just need a period after flags.
So here we have signs sanctioned by the Town of Milton Historical Commission, which display historical information about buildings. There it says exceeding 2 feet. But
Not exceed.
I'm wondering whether you even put that in at all. Why put it in the size? Because if it's deemed by the Historical Commission to be appropriate, why limit the
Like-
size?
Are you thinking about like
I'm just trying to think about, like,
Scott's Woods neighborhood sign?
No, so Jim
Jim's
Jim is
sign,
under
yeah.
number 4, names of buildings, not to exceed 10 square feet.
okay.
Not to exceed.
So I
Not to
think-
But that's not
exceed how-
historic, though. I'm
Yeah.
trying to get to the historic part
So
of
I
it.
think they're referring to historic plaques on houses.
Yeah.
Which display information about buildings. I mean, Bent's just says Bent's Cookie Factory. I guess that's
Yeah,
information. but it's like-
it's just a name of buildings.
Yeah.
And it's when made a permanent and integral part of a building. That's, your sign is,
Not to exceed
Bent's
10
sign.
feet, though. So what do you
yeah,
do in
10
that case?
feet, 10 square. How, yours was, it's so
Length of the
long.
building, which is 35.
Well, I mean, 5 feet
It was
by
big.
2 feet is not small necessarily.
Well, it's only a piece of sod. In my world.
Nice big piece of moss.
Well, again, it seems to me like, they could go for an approval
go-
instead of
yeah.
being exempt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we could look through this again with that in mind, like if we think other restrictions somewhere would not allow it to come in.
And the Warren Committee still has to vet this, and then town meeting has to vet this, right? So I'm sure we'll
Yeah.
get plenty of feedback.
We've got layers to.
I'm also trying to help town staff.
Well, this is where you put parameters, the size, then it's not, it's either it meets it or it doesn't,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that's what the building department had asked for previously, is don't leave it subjective.
Yeah.
And remember, I forgot to tell you, I bumped into Tim in Boston.
Oh, where is he?
You talked to him, it was so funny. I bumped into him, I'm like, Tim, how are you? And I said, you would be so proud of us, all the things that we've gotten accomplished. I said that you really helped to lay the foundation for. And he said, you've got to get that sign bylaw done. I'm like, I'm like, we're working on it. Because he sat on that committee to see all the
You saw the stuff.
confusion
Yeah.
that surrounded it, which is sort of like our site plan. It was just no guidance at all. So hopefully this will help. All right, so yes, we could keep looking through this. Prohibited signs.
Yeah, this is where I would like to see audible somewhere. I just didn't see it. Keep that in mind
Okay,
as
we
we're
should
going
add-
through it.
We probably would have to have a definition of audible. Do we?
What's in the definitions?
Oh, it is in the definitions. Okay. So audible, all right. And also under number 8, there was just a difference, signs advertising businesses, services, or activities at a different, did she change?
Premises, yeah, I got, that was
Did
a
she fix
typo.
that?
So Jim, where is it under definitions? I see sign.
Sign, comma, audible.
Audible? I see it now, sorry.
Bottom of page.
Yeah, I
well,
got it now.
mine is bottom of page 2. I don't know.
Okay,
Julie,
yeah.
under 8, did premises, signs advertising businesses, yeah, premises just needs to be, there's a space in between pre and business. Yep, perfect.
This one over here, non-accessory needs a dash. Under prohibited signs, number 1, it's flagging it in Word because it needs something.
Which number?
It's under prohibited signs, number 1. Thank you.
Okay, and then under, I was actually thinking,
So you wanted to put audible signs or prohibited,
audible,
Jim?
yeah, we wanted to.
I would like to, unless you guys, I mean, if I lived next door to an audible sign, I'd go bananas.
And does, yeah, let's add that. And does internally illuminated signs have a period after they end?
So that's struck in my version.
Then it's added
Yeah,
back
but then
in.
it's added under the 3.
It's because the numbering system was wrong. I mean, it was, needed to correct the number.
Oh, I got you.
And
Okay, I'm
then
sorry. I see it. I see it.
Open face
Okay.
channel letters, that's what this hearing on the 30th is, open face channel letters. Which, how would you describe that? Open face
Yeah,
channel
I think
letters.
I Googled
They
that.
have a depth to them,
Yeah.
and then they don't have a facing. So like, you'll see a sign that looks like it's kind of got a white acrylic, and then it's internally lit, and it's a channel letter, so a channel
Yeah.
letter has depth to it.
Yeah.
So it can vary, the depth of it can vary.
Yeah.
And sometimes you'll have seen a sign that has like theater-style light bulbs in those
Right,
channels.
that's what I picture.
Yeah, those are channel letters, but,
Yeah.
you know, whether open means it doesn't have that acrylic on the face of it.
Yeah. Okay, so there was a period after that.
So that's why you need an architect on the sign.
That's- Or two.
Sorry to suggest otherwise.
But if we have a theater, maybe it would be
But
appropriate.
if a theater's going
If it's
in,
approved movie
Yeah.
theater,
If the
absolutely.
movie
Yeah.
theater comes
Well, you
back.
think about Downtown Crossing and some of those historic signs.
Yeah.
And but we don't have
We don't.
that house. But if we had that, I'm sure they'd be willing to entertain something different, right? The old movie theater open back up.
And how would you, I was just going to ask, because this has sort of been an issue, is how do we address LED neon? Because it has LED and digital displays. Should we say LED neon and neon tubes? Because it can look like neon, but it actually can be LED.
Well, I think if you read the whole thing here, or an exposed or visible light source, the light itself in neon, right, is the exposed light source, and LED, it's the same thing, right? So it's like you don't, it's all, in some ways, like this is saying including but not limited to, and then it lists the kinds of light source, the incandescent, the fluorescent, the LED, certain types of LED, and neon, because neon is distinct light source than LED. But, so you could just say, why call out, I mean, you can still, I suppose, call out LED price and digital displays, but you can just say LED, period, because LED comes in strips too.
Yeah.
You know, so as a light source. So we're listing light sources, except that we're saying LED price signs and LED and digital displays, which we're describing now the type of sign instead of just the light source. I don't know if I'm explaining
or
that
if you said
very well.
neon or neon style lighting. Because I think the fear is that you have a light that looks like a neon light, but it's not. It's powered by LEDs, which I'm sure somebody has out there. And you could
So you could say like LED strip, LED, or neon-like LED, I guess is what you're
neon-like,
saying.
yeah, neon-like, neon style. That
neon
neon-like
type,
is great.
yeah.
Sure.
maybe neon tubes and
Comma, neon-like.
and neon-like LED tubes.
I think you could just leave out the tube at that point, just call it neon-like.
Neon-like,
LED
yeah.
neon.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
what if there's some other technology coming
I know.
down the...
Exactly.
So I'm taking this out here?
No, I
No,
think
I
you
think
could leave that in. I was
We're just
kind
going to
of
add it at the end.
just
Oh,
just throwing out different ideas.
Comma, neon tubes, yeah, and,
And then can we add 29 and say no audible signs?
yeah.
I'll be so happy.
Neon-like, so neon-like.
Where's there an audible sign?
There isn't. That's the idea.
LED.
Outside of Milton, anywhere.
Oh, I don't know if you're like entering a parking lot sometimes.
LED, it's not really,
The automatic gate
you know,
says
like you'll
proceed
you'll
or
see a lot of
something, or
buildings that
wait,
have like those lights that are linear and like it's blue or whatever, and they're kind of on the facades. That's what this would prohibit too. I mean, that kind of, I suppose, because it's not necessarily, well, I don't know, maybe it wouldn't.
Does this prohibit the little, like, all the open, you know, you've got all the open going forward, because they're starting to pop up, and then,
So those are not allowed, because when I owned Bent's, I had one, and Jay came in and was like, that's got to go, and I was like, okay.
so now you're seeing them pop, and it's just not being enforced then, probably, but.
Yeah. They're really inexpensive.
They're really, and
They
they're,
hang right off a chain in your window.
and El Barrio in East Milton Square has some new little thing. But I like their sign. They have a really nice, tasteful sign about it. Okay, I think this addresses that. And then audible signs?
Yes. Just,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I just feel like if we're trying to control like light bylaw for homeowners,
Right.
So if you're,
it should be on businesses too. We're trying to decrease all the lights kind of everywhere in town.
Right.
sorry, were you done with this part?
Yeah.
Because under measurement of sign height to building signs, we need a word shall be determined. We're missing the word be. Keep going, I think.
Sign area. Sign
Right
area.
there, under building signs, the light of a wall sign shall be determined.
Good catch.
My computer died.
Huh?
My
Oh.
computer died, so
So did Hulk Hogan.
I saw that. In Aussie.
Shall be.
In Aussie.
Ozzy was a
I
couple days ago.
think you
That was a
could
bummer.
put it in
He did a
parenthetical.
farewell tour 2 weeks ago.
Parentheses in the beginning and
Right?
then.
When I
I
put
knew it
in
was coming.
ZBA, I put in ZBA, I didn't, and then after that, it was, zoning board of appeals. So,
I think you could put ZBA in if you put it in parentheses the first time you put it in, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
You
and
wanna
then
go
it-
back
yeah,
and
then
do-
it
and do
carries
that?
through the
Yeah.
document.
Yep. Tomorrow you can do it. You don't have to do it tonight. Although, if you're in tomorrow. Okay. Then under 10C right away, the second or the third line up from the bottom, I thought this should actually be building commissioner instead of, it says select board. Because it's the bonding of the sidewalk or insurance requirements as determined by the select board. Wouldn't that be a building commissioner?
Seems like it.
Because the ZBA wouldn't really get involved with the bonding of that. It would.
Building commissioner or DPW? I know that they're streets.
I don't know. Yeah, is that something maybe the DPW? If it's hanging over public sidewalks, maybe it's DPW.
DPW.
Okay. I didn't have anything else.
There needs to be a period at the end of that right-of-way paragraph.
Oh, yes.
I know that in Boston, for example, there's the Public Improvement Commission will approve things that go over the sidewalk. So maybe it is DPW, but it's worth asking here.
Yeah. Ask on that. And it was funny, we were, you know how we were talking about horizontal sign, that because they are really charming when they, Newburyport, a lot of towns have them.
Yeah.
The only one I could find, the Milton Dental, between the nail salon across from Abbey Park, next to Dunkin' Donuts. They have one, the Milton Dental.
I think
East Milton Dental.
I think One Elliott has one
I was
on the
gonna
Adams
say-
Street side.
yeah,
There's one sign
I was
sticking
gonna say,
out.
yeah.
They look great on brick buildings. They look
Yes, yeah, I was
fantastic.
going to say
The
there's
blade
one down there.
signs?
Yeah,
The blade signs.
signs.
Oh, yeah, One Elliott does
Yes.
have one.
Down there,
Yeah,
there's
the
one.
blade signs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a couple around.
Because I was looking at the size of the, like we were talking about.
I like the
Well, blade
one-offs. I don't like it when
signs,
there's a
yeah, I
whole
like
row
blade
of them.
signs.
Yeah,
One-off is
they're
cool.
very cute.
Especially if it's a door where you can't quite see, and then
Yeah.
the sign's like, oh yeah, this it's
So then
It's
under
doing its job.
maintenance, that needs a period at the end? Installation, without the express approval of the sign review committee. We put in- That looked good.
Is this where we should? Are we going to address murals or no? And is this where we should do it?
Under,
Just mentions painting the exterior of buildings,
Oh.
physically painting the building instead of having a sign. Are we not, I mean, I remember
Yeah, I know what
bringing-
you're saying.
To me, I kind of struggle with murals a little bit, especially on historic buildings.
So I never liked them, but the one on Abbey Park looks pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a nice little, I don't know, just, do we want to regulate those? or-
Yeah, I know. I struggle with that because then as a business owner, you kind of want to do what you want to do for your own,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
to
But I
identify
think if
your
somebody went
business,
before the
but-
sign review committee and
Yeah.
it was like, yeah, this is, you know, it's not prohibited.
Yeah.
I don't think they should be prohibited.
Yeah, no, I'm saying they're not
No.
prohibited. So it could be, and maybe the ZBA says it's okay.
I think sometimes it's nice to stumble across, especially if it's just like a concrete wall.
Yeah,
It
no,
would
I
be
agree.
nice, but I
Yeah.
would hate to devalue a historic brick.
Right.
So which,
So illuminates. So in this, I left the prohibited illuminated signs in this section as well as putting it in the other section because I thought it reinforces.
Sure.
So we should. And so illumination.
so then do you need to update
We
Neon
under
tubes.
number 2C?
Yeah. And we'd need periods after. Prohibited.
After all of these?
Yeah, just a period. And then we'll add in LED, price signs, LED, digital, and comma, neon tubes. Common neon.
Here?
Yep. So we make, common neon tubes and LED neon like. Was that what we said?
And
We say,
neon lights?
did we say neon like?
Neon like,
I think.
LED. LED.
Like LED.
yeah.
Oh, did we leave out LED or we kept LED?
We kept LED, but we put neon like LED.
LED, okay,
Right.
but then didn't we discuss that in case some other new power source comes down the pike, we're
Yeah, that's neon like.
taking out the word LED, I thought. Did I miss
No, we
that?
kept it.
Oh, okay, okay, that's all good, okay,
I think that,
good.
right, this all can change. I think that was that. And then under 11, residential, take out the Lang related to historic society review. I think that was Tim's note to himself. Like, if it's in a historic district, does it need review? And it doesn't, so.
Now, I just made a note that to myself to ask if there's a sign that is not seen from a street. Is that like it's just for
Yeah.
the business itself?
Yeah, that
Directories, we addressed that, and I think
Yeah, is
directories
that
or
right? Yeah,
secondary
okay.
signs, I
Yeah.
think it's called in here.
Okay, yeah, director, okay, so,
Definitely in here.
yeah.
Yeah,
So is
it's-
that kind of protected if no
it's
one sees
under
it?
exempt.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
those were under exempt.
okay, sorry.
And I did think we should have under E, commercial uses and non-conforming,
Yes.
should we say pre-existing non-conforming?
I think you have it.
Or
Pre-existing commercial uses
okay.
and non-conforming business.
Non-conforming
I mean, I think you could just say pre-existing and non-conforming
businesses. We don't need
businesses.
protected.
I don't think you need commercial uses either. Well, I mean, they're all businesses if it's commercial, right? So pre-existing, non-conforming business is, plural, in residential zones are subject to business requirements.
Yes.
Is this in all caps for a reason?
It shouldn't be.
No.
Pre-existing non-conforming businesses in residential, and this should be a lowercase I, right?
Yeah, and I don't think we even need the commercial uses.
No, so just pre-existing commercial uses and pre-existing and non-conforming businesses in residential zones are subject to business requirements.
Or residential districts. Do we use zones?
I think districts is correct, you're right. So,
Pre-existing and non-conforming businesses in residential zones are subject to business district requirements.
just change zones to districts. And you'll change that to lowercase later. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we can wait if you want to do that. No,
Oh, you want me to do it now?
I think we're, wow. Because we don't have that much more. And then while Julia's finishing that, when we go down through business districts, the last bullet in B, a freestanding sign shall not exceed 50 feet of area when established fronts are on Granite Avenue. Tim had a Route 2, but really when you look at this, you're standing on one side, of East Milton, looking at the square. I think that we should just maybe take this out, because I think if we get into different streets having different.
Right.
Well, a freestanding sign, though, I think we should take out the street, but we need to address freestanding signs. So like, for example, the hospice at the corner of Reedsdale and
Right.
Randolph, the hospital itself, I think memory care is going to have one, and I think the daycare centers. So I think we should look at those permits, at least the ones that we were involved in the
Right.
permits, and then try and get an idea of the hospital and hospice signs, just to have a sense of even the library has a sign at the corner, and then
Right.
they have their vertical sign.
Right,
right.
I see what you're saying. So it's not
Those are
street related.
all freestanding
freestanding.
signs. And
What are the
right now, they're
typical
all like,
dimensions?
there's nothing to regulate them, right?
So why don't I ask John Zikowitz
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Like, what does he see are typical freestanding signs around town? Is it?
I mean,
Yeah.
so you can reference the ones that we approved in our site plan approvals too.
Right.
That may or not have come to them yet because
Like
they're not in the
6x2
process.
or 5x3? I can't.
Because a freestanding sign is normally a sign for someone who's in a vehicle to see. Whereas a sign in the business district is
Pedestrian.
but slow vehicles.
Right.
So you're going down Reedsdale or Randolph or Blue Hill Ave or Blue Hill Parkway even.
Right.
A pedestrian is going to see those signs as being big, but a vehicle won't, right? So otherwise you won't see it. So I think that's where it'd be interesting to see how much commentary they've had on those.
Yeah, because if you look at what Tim had written was 25 square feet in areas that are not on Granite Ave, meaning more of those.
So think
freestanding.
5 by 5, let's just say, I mean, as an example, versus 50, it's like 5 by 10, it's
Yeah, we
pretty
don't
big.
want that. Yeah, no more than.
But, I mean, the one at the library could
Oh, yeah.
be pretty big. I don't know if it's 50, though.
Yeah, so it all comes down to where the space in which it sits.
That's the thing. This is very subjective.
It's, like the
All right, I'll
library
ask-
looks, and even the hospice looks okay, but the hospice sign wouldn't look good at, across
Anywhere in East
anywhere
Milton
else.
Square.
Yes,
Right.
yeah.
I mean, and one thing I noticed about those types of signs is that they always have vegetation around them,
Yes,
which
yeah.
makes them,
Soften.
they're still big, you still
Yeah.
see them, but you're right, it softens them.
The
I
other
don't know if we
thing,
can.
you don't want them out of scale too small either, because
No,
that's
you
not going to
don't.
look appropriate. It's really part of the design of Well, for example, the hospital is different because you want to identify the drive because you don't even see the building, right? But, you know, the library at the corner, you know, is just, it is an identifier at that intersection. And the hospice is at the corner too. That's where that sign is.
Right.
But
Like Hemorrhoid Callis Corners, that sign
It's a
is
big-
long. That's a big, long sign. But that's appropriate there, I think.
It's like 1 foot tall.
Yeah,
It's low. It's like a
granite. Isn't it granite?
this is where I don't know that we can identify which streets are the appropriate size.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to avoid
think-
the streets. Yeah.
And, I mean, you could say 2-lane versus 4-lane or something, but that doesn't cover everything.
Yeah, I think it's better to get a general idea for the freestanding.
Okay.
And I'll get that from John. Okay. So down, signs painted on windows, sidewalk signs.
So with sidewalk signs, why are we allowing only, like, I'm sorry, no plastic? You guys catch that? Is that an issue for anybody? Because I remember when I owned Vance, and then when I put out the sidewalk signs for the Scout resale, we have these wooden ones that are really heavy and really cumbersome. I mean, if I had an employee who had to put a sidewalk sign out, they're not going to hurt themselves, but they're just big and heavy. I guess I just don't see the need to, prohibit plastic. Is that?
I feel like all of the sidewalk signs, for the most part, are plastic these days.
Yeah,
Don't you?
yeah. Relatively inexpensive, durable,
Yeah.
stand up to the weather.
I mean, they're making them better, like they're making them black
Look
now,
nicer,
not
yeah.
just all white.
Am I losing my mind? That's in here, right?
It's here.
Could have sworn I read that. Okay, good.
It said not entirely of
Not
plastic.
entirely.
So like those sidewalk signs usually have, you can change the messaging on it.
Okay.
That's not,
Entirely
and
plastic.
all
Yeah, no,
plastic.
I'm just, yeah.
Be cardboard or,
Could be.
Chalkboard or
Right.
A
whatever.
chalkboard, that's what I was thinking. Those are really cute.
kind of
But
fun.
it's-
Until it
yeah,
rains,
but until
they're
it
great.
rains, I know, yes.
It's cute.
I don't know, just something that caught my eye.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
No, it is a good point. So what do we think? Do we want to, not entirely of plastic? Or
And I mean, has this always been there, that you can get a sticker for your sidewalk sign?
I think that's where we'll ask the
It's-
building commissioner.
So I think it's great that we're charging a fee and we're regulating it somehow.
Yeah.
But in true
Is this is this a current bylaw, in our bylaw? Getting a sticker?
These are from other towns.
This is, oh, okay.
Yeah, I think this Tim took from other towns. And then the only other thing is, I think,
Just coming back to that, I guess I also don't think we should ban plastic, given that so many of them are plastic.
Yeah, they're just way more practical.
Yeah.
and it's up to the business, right? So I guess,
Should we just take that
should we
out?
just,
or-
we can take that
I
out.
think just take that whole bullet point out.
Although I do like those old-fashioned wooden sidewalk
I
signs.
know,
No,
so
they're
I-
beautiful, yeah.
But I know it's not,
And you know what, the last
heavy.
one, the liability insurance coverage might just exclude everybody from having sidewalk signs. I never even thought to check if my Ben's insurance policy covers me for $1 million and then $2 million aggregate.
Again, I would ask the town about that.
yeah, these are all building commissioner.
Or the town administrator. You know, someone besides us should set
Yeah.
those policies.
Right, right, please, yeah.
And then what happens if your
good
sign,
catch,
your sign
Jim.
gets damaged? My sign gets damaged all the time.
Right. I know.
And
I bet.
I've never been
I think
reimbursed.
Gotta get a new
the
sticker.
real issue is that the sign damages or injures someone, and there's a
Yes, yeah.
liability associated with it.
Yeah, or it forces somebody to walk out into the sidewalk, into
Right.
the street, and then they get hit or something.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
So yeah, we'll be running by all of these with the different departments. So the only other one is C, bed and breakfast.
I'm done.
We don't have bed and breakfast. Do we want to keep that in the event that we would have one day, or just take that out?
I would leave it in. Because I would imagine we can't prohibit bed and breakfast forever, or we'll have to address bed and breakfast eventually.
It was,
I mean,
it was a contemplated, it was one of the things Tim,
It was way back
Contemplated, I
when
remember.
Emily Innes was on the planning board. There was a bylaw drafted. I probably have a copy of it. And it didn't, I think it got sent for further study and it never was further studied, or it didn't make it to town meeting. I don't remember which. But I think it was an idea that it could bring in some additional revenue, and acknowledging that some places people are renting out anyway.
And we have, also as discussed, because we have Curry College and Milton Academy. So if people come in for a parents' weekend.
we don't really have a hotel
right.
Yeah.
to stay.
Yeah, and, yeah, for that purpose, yeah.
Something to think about.
So I think you're right. Someone might ask, well, you know, are these allowed somewhere? And it's like, no, well, why is it in here? But I do think, otherwise you have to catch it and come back to it, right?
Okay. All right. So Julia, can you save those track changes and,
I would, again, on the gas service station,
oh, sorry.
I did take a look at that one in East Milton that I think that you mentioned,
be
Meredith.
coming.
And yeah, if I lived across the street from that, I'm not sure I'd be that happy about it. So I do think addressing signage at service stations is a good thing, especially East Milton has 3 of them, right? So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if it's lit, it's allowed to be on until, what, 11?
Well, and again, I would ask the sign review committee, like ask John what their opinion is about this, because they've had to review signs recently for those.
I feel like I remember that when that sign was being discussed, it was somebody lived close by and they always had to pull their shade
Yeah.
down because it was so bright.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now we're gonna have another one, so. It's coming, I know.
What if we
That's
can
why
get this passed?
yeah, this will be really helpful, I think, Jim.
So, Julia, can you, since we're going to be meeting on the 7th, can you distribute this updated version tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll just date it today.
Yeah,
Good,
okay, great,
perfect.
thank you.
That's
Are you
great.
done?
I think that was the last item on the
think so.
agenda. So-
Well, I did send you all
Oh, I'm sorry,
Oh,
yeah.
yes, yeah.
I did-
And I don't know, we have to discuss it in detail tonight, but I just want to point out that what it's doing is trying to capture like 440 Granite Ave,
Yeah.
which didn't, I think we asked them to make a contribution, but we couldn't force them to. And so that's just
So I thought this was really good, but you did say, because there's a lot in here that maybe we need to run through town council,
I just,
by town council.
because I added site plan approval, because that's the business districts, our
Right.
site plan approval. So even you can't just say special permit, or that wouldn't have captured
Yeah.
440 Granite Ave either.
Exactly.
So it's adding business district and site plan approval, but then as I did that, I realized that would pull in the MBTA
ADUs,
zoning, and I
yeah.
just I didn't go back and look at the regs to see, and I thought, well, maybe town council could advise on it,
And
just to make sure that we're not running afoul of the regs.
And I think
Are
this is really
ADUs
good, and I
susceptible to
think,
site plan review, aren't they? Mm-hmm. So it would pull them
But
in too.
ADUs don't,
Oh, we have the
trigger it because
option,
they're too
yeah.
small.
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
It's,
good.
it's, 7,500. It wouldn't,
Oh, that's right.
it wouldn't get everything in MBTA communities either. It's just, it's getting triggered by the parking spaces or the size.
I mean, I think it's good. I think we should really,
I think we should
Move it
submit it
forward.
and then
Yeah.
ask him to
Yes.
confirm whether there's a
Yeah.
problem. I wouldn't hold it
Keep
for the
it, so
spring.
we still want to move forward, okay,
I would move it forward.
okay.
If there's one thing that we've heard is that traffic
agree.
is a concern. And I remember when we put this forward before on the floor of town meeting, I was the chair and I was reluctant to accept that the planning board would take it back for further study because I was like,
Why?
how many years ago was it now? A long time. That's the problem. They don't come back necessarily quickly. And I also wondered, well, the 40B projects, I don't think we can require it either, or the Dover Amendment projects. But I mean, it seems like we should capture whatever we can.
Something, it's not,
Yeah.
But you wanted to add some language that would capture,
So
that you would add to this.
I added what I
That
thought.
she added.
I
You already
it-
did add it, okay.
What I sent out
That has
had
what
it.
you were
It was a
wanting to
red
add.
line version.
All right,
Excuse me.
Or purple.
or purple.
Purple. Yeah, I mean,
mine's red.
Yeah.
I like red.
is Julia, I don't,
Printed
like I
mine
said,
off
we
and
can
it's
review
purple.
it at the next meeting if you all want to just take a look. I just wanted to tell you what I was trying to do with
Yes.
it and the issues that I thought of as I did it. All right, it's not complicated. Everything else about what triggers it is all the same. It's just that I think it was an oversight
Yeah.
at the time that it was done that we didn't capture the business districts. And maybe it was because it was site plan approval and not special permit. And,
I agree, if we can get it in and submit it,
but it seems to me a project like 440 Granite Ave is a perfect example of why we would want to add it.
right. So let's
So
review that
I'm
and
hoping
spend
that you
time
all
on it.
agree that we will
Yeah.
submit it for the fall if we can.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay. All right,
So-
so next meeting then.
So, and that,
I'll send it to you because I don't know if I sent it to you.
it was the traffic mitigation.
impact mitigation.
mitigation. And I'll send it to you now. I'll
And then
find it.
I was going to talk to Nick because what also was sent out that you found is the select board had come up with, they have the town of Milton application requirements and aesthetic standards for small wireless facility installations that the select board at the time, Richard Wells was chair, Zulis Melinda, Katie Conlon, had all signed on to. I don't know how much of this is being enforced, but Hamilton and Nick seem to think that it's not zoning, so it wouldn't be a bylaw that would come through us. Although Hamilton, they have their applications go through their planning board.
So I remember when the select board did this, and Katie Conlon had suggested to the planning board that was an interim
Yeah,
as a policy,
That's
that
what
it
I
really
remember.
should be a zoning.
yeah. And that's what Hamilton has.
Yeah.
I don't think we can get that ready for
the
fall.
spring, I think.
But for spring, I think we can sit down and address it, and I'll talk to Nick about that. And I thought Hamilton seemed really good and had a lot of good things. Because you see them start popping up, and then they're big metal things.
They're very big.
Some are painted black for some, and some aren't. Some are now I'm just seeing the metal going
If
up.
we can make some money off of it, I think it would be great. Find some way to
Well, it's-
capitalize on it.
Well, they have to, I don't know how much of a moneymaker it is, but it's making sure that it's sort of camouflaged or the way it's sited isn't, because right now they're right in the middle of the sidewalks. They're really imposing on the pedestrian
I've seen them on
walkways.
poles. Are we talking about the same thing?
They're at the base,
They're at
so the base
of
becomes
poles.
really big.
Interesting, okay.
So,
The ones I've seen anyway.
yeah. Yep. All right. Good, thank you all. I appreciate
And,
your work on this.
I'm going to be on Zoom on the 7th,
Okay,
so I won't be in town, but I can.
That's
I
not
can
a
join the
problem.
meeting.
and hopefully we'll be in a good shape after we have comments and can address anything that,
Julia, can you send out a calendar invite for the 7th for us? Thank you. It's, otherwise, I don't.
Okay. So with that, I would
myself.
entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Good night, all.
Good night.